Now my baseline get bass, bass. love me like a ghost, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You love me like a ghost, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Just hold on, baby. I'm looking for you lately. It's been a little crazy, but maybe that's okay. Beauty like the sunrise, eyes like the moonlight. Hold my hand, it's alright, yeah. Love me like a ghost. With you I get chills. Ooh, I love the thrill, oh yeah. Love me like a ghost. looking for you lately. It's been a little crazy, but maybe that's okay. Beauty like the sunrise, eyes like the moonlight. Hold my hand, it's alright, yeah. Love me like a ghost. With you I get chills. Ooh, I love the thrill, oh yeah. Love me like a ghost. Never let me go. Walking through these walls, oh yeah. Love me like a ghost. With you I get chills. Ooh, I love the thrill, oh yeah. Love me like a ghost. Walking through these walls. Never let me go.
And welcome back to the final week of the regular season of Arena Clash. We are here with some League of Legends action, and tonight we have the deciding games. We'll decide who makes it to playoffs and who's going to be left just shy. I am Stuart Sin McLeod, and tonight, unfortunately, I may be here by myself, but that doesn't change that we've got some top quality games coming up for you. And it's been a long build up to this, and we've seen some teams falter at the wayside. Both of the games tonight, we've got two teams that have faltered, but the two teams that haven't are the Lionhearts and the Claymores, who sit at the top of Group 1, currently undefeated. Both of them, they go up against each other tonight, which will be exciting to see who comes out on top. One of our teams from the semi-finals last year, and our reigning champions in the Lionhearts, and that matchup is sure to be an exciting one. Down at the bottom, the Kestrels, who unfortunately forfeited and dropped all of their games this season, hoping maybe they get a chance next season. Looking now at Group 2, it is the Steelers, our runners-up from the last season, at the top. It's going to be Brawlers and Saints tonight, fighting over who gets to slot into that second place slot. And I know the Bristol Brawlers have been gunning for it. They have been looking a lot stronger this time around, and I'm excited to see if they can make it over those Cardiff Saints. And coming into Group 3, we have the Kingston Harriers at the top. And our most prestigious org in the Portsmouth Pirates had a bit of a struggle yet again. They finished at 2-2. But all comes down to this group. If the Smugglers win, then Pirates will still be over the top of them in a tiebreaker. So it's all down to the Spartans. If they lose today 2-0, the Pirates still make it through in second place. But if they win even a single game against the Harriers, that is likely to mean that the Spartans are just through straight off. And the Harriers still looking so strong, but they've been struggling to close out series cleanly 2-0 so far this season. They've generally dropped those games 2s when people ban out that Draven. Now looking at Group 4, it is the Invincibles at the top of the table. And this is the other group we're going to come into, as we're going to be watching the Guardians versus the Invincibles tonight. As the Guardians dropped a game to the Centurions earlier in the season, they have to take down this undefeated Preston Invincibles squad to have a chance of making those. They've got to take them 2-0, in fact, to make the playoffs. And Centurions have a bit of a rough time for themselves, but if they win 2-0, that's all they can do. It's out of their hands. They should win 2-0 tonight against the Enigma's squad that's had a rough time as of late. So it's all down to this Invincibles versus Guardians match. 2-0 for the Guardians, they're in. Anything less, they're out. And so tonight's match is going to be the Stratford Spartans versus the Kingston Harriers. And we mentioned we got two teams that are fighting for their own fate. Stratford Spartans are one of them. If they win even a single game here tonight, I believe that's enough to get them into the playoffs over the top of the Portsmouth Pirates. And we've got Kingston Harriers, who, like we said, have looked very strong so far. But once people start to work them out in those Game 2s, they seem to look a lot weaker, and they have to fight really hard in those Game 3s. Game 1, usually a stomp for them because people don't know what to ban, but we'll see if the Stratford Spartans have given them enough investment in their research and is going to have enough knowledge to be able to take this team down. And so the Kingston Harriers, I'm excited to see what they have to show here, because they have been a team that's looked very strong at the start of the split, but I need to see them step up that extra level when their comfort champions are taken away, when the bans hit them a bit harder. Do they have much left in the pool? Because they show it in Game 3s that they can grind out victories, but they're a hell of a lot closer. And against the better teams, when we see these other teams that are undefeated in the playoffs, I'm not 100% sure that the Kingston Harriers have what's left in the tank to be able to take them out. Stratford Spartans, on the other hand, like we said, all the pressure is on them here. Winning a single game against the Kingston Harriers, and like we said before, it's most likely to be their Game 2, would be enough to put them through in the playoffs over the top of the Portsmouth Pirates. So I'm really interested to see how they come into this. And like we said, the Draven ban, one of the key things we're going to need to talk about with that particular matchup. So looking as how the season's gone as a whole so far, it has been a lot more competitive. We've seen a lot more teams make a big investment into upgrading their rosters. We saw the Claymores bring back several of their champion members into their roster to see if they can make it to those later stages again after being knocked out in the semi-finals last time around. We've got the Tyneside Guardians, who made it to the semi-finals themselves, dropping that game to the Colchester Centurions in Week 1. So we'll need to see if they are able to make up for that tonight and put themselves back over. And we got, of course, we mentioned earlier, the Lionhearts versus the Claymores, two undefeated teams. That is sure to be an absolutely incredible matchup. And I don't know if production will be able to keep me up with this, but I'd love to hear how that series is going in progress. And so the matches so far are pretty hard to call. And so the Preston Invincibles, we haven't really seen any of them yet this season. I'm excited to see what they have to bring to the table. So them against the Tyneside Guardians, who we know last season were very strong, I need to see how they've managed to get their wins, how they garner their advantages, to really compare them to the rest of the groups, because we don't really know the strength of Group 4 as of yet. But currently, when you look at the group tables, it's very easy to say Preston should win it. Tyneside, I've heard in the back end, though, that they've been practicing a lot. They were disappointed with their Week 1 performance. They came in and disrespected the Colchester Centurions, let their side down, and they are trying to work their way back in. They're trying to prove that they are still a contender, and they have to do that tonight by taking down the top team in the group. They can't let the side down again. And on the other side of it, an other matchup tonight, we got the Stratford Spartans, who don't really look like they can take down the Kingston Harriers from what we've seen of them so far. But the Kingston Harriers, they have faltered, they have made mistakes, and they have had those very weak game twos where they're forced to adapt very heavily in draft, and they don't do it well enough, and that leads to them having a rougher time where they can't quite make it all come together in game. The early game aggression ends up punishing them, and that is where the Kingston Harriers may have a window open for Stratford Spartans to just take that one game that they need to be able to get a leg up over the Portsmouth Pirates, because that would be very crucial to them to get them into that playoff position like we talked about. Because if you look at the points system, which we use for tiebreakers right now, Portsmouth Pirates are on 1 point. Stratford is, I believe they are currently on 3 points. So no, they're currently on 2 points rather, I believe. So yeah, and considering they're on 2 points, if they lose 2-0 tonight, they go down to 0. They're below the Portsmouth Pirates in that tiebreaker. However, if they win one game, they go to 1 point, and they already beat the Portsmouth Pirates, so that's enough to put them in playoff position. And so then you look at the other side, you got the Bristol, I believe it's the Smugglers in that group, who are currently on -1 points, and winning 2-0 tonight, which many would argue they would put them on 1 point as well. However, they are a team that Portsmouth have beat, so Portsmouth are currently over the top of them in the standings. So if Stratford falter and Bristol, even if they win 2-0, they're not going to do enough to get over the top of the Portsmouth Pirates. So it's all between Stratford and Portsmouth right now. And Stratford, they really want that spot. And so we've seen the Stratford Spartans a little, but what we've seen a lot more of is the Kingston Harriers. And I've been looking at Regan quite a lot, who's looked very strong on when you've put him on the Syndra that he's been on. We've seen in the bot lane, it's been the Draven that's been the primary pickup, and that has dominated games when teams aren't respectful enough towards it and let that go through the draft. So when they take the Draven, they're able to dominate the early game and push that advantage consistently around the map. Those games end like 22, 23 minutes, but the game twos, like we keep mentioning, have consistently gone to around that 40-minute mark because there's such scrappy games when they try to play that same aggression they had with the Draven, with the likes of like an Ashe, which just doesn't match up to the same level. You can't really play as aggressively with a Xayah or an Ashe. We saw them go 2-0, I believe, last week because they had that Xayah, but they made so many mistakes in the mid-game where they got caught out time and time again, over-aggressing and getting hit by too many pick potential moments that they really shouldn't have been in the position to be caught by. And that's where I really expect them to change it up going forward. And I want them to sit down, go over those games and go, why are we pushing forward here? Why are we stepping so far forward? We've got a wave coming in top lane. That wave is going to collapse in 10 seconds. Wait for that to arrive. Somebody's going to go and have to respond to it. Then we make the engage happen. Instead, they rush it without wave priority. When you're pushing with Baron buff, that means so much because the game stalls out by another 5-10 minutes. If you die on one of those sieges, just one pick on the Baron can be enough to completely negate the entirety of the Baron buff because you're forced to base, you're forced to back off because you don't want to play into a 5v4. And then so much of your advantage just gets wiped away in an instant. That's why I'm worried about the Kingston Harriers. That's why I'm not so convinced that they can match up with some of the best teams. I can see like if they catch a team unawares, they catch a team that hasn't played against them before, they can win a game easily. Best of one. Kingston's probably the best of one team we have in Arena Clash. But when you put them in that best of 3 environment, that's where mistakes start to get made. That's where they start to get worked out as the series goes on. They falter. And even at 3-0, they've dropped more games than any other 3-0 team so far, I believe. So I believe that the Spartans can take a game off of them, but I need to see another level from them, because so far they're only at +2, and so they've managed to get some points for themselves, but they need to have a convincing match in that game 2 for me. They can't just take it to 40 minutes and try and take the Kingston Harriers there, because they've been ramping up. They look better and better. I believe they got their first 2-0 last week that they've had all season long. If they keep on improving, then they are likely to eclipse everyone else in this group. This group is explosive, but I don't think it's going to match up well against some of the other groups. I think when you get into the quarterfinals, semifinal stage, that is where they are going to start to fall apart. But then again, I thought the same about FPX when we saw them at Worlds, and they were a team that came into the group stage playing this explosive style, getting caught out, making mistakes, and they got punished in the group stage. They lost a couple too many games, but when they came to that best-of-5 scenario, they adapted, they changed it up, they knew how to respond to their opponents, and they came in with a much better game plan. I expect when Kingston Harriers come into these games knowing that somebody's going to have done the research and know exactly what to ban against them, that they'll have a much better game plan going forward. They'll understand exactly how a team's looking to play against them, and then be able to respond in kind. So I hope that that's going to be what the Kingston Harriers look to do. And so what I want to see the Stratford Spartans do to be able to take them out of this take him out in that either game 1 or game 2 is look to punish that aggression. You play a comp that can kite back very efficiently. You play a safe bot lane. That is the most crucial part, a safe bot lane that can punish. We're not talking like Ezreal Braum sit back in the lane. We're talking a lane that will actively turn on you if you step even a modicum too far forward. We're talking like your Caitlyn Morgana, something like that, that can kite back very efficiently, that can play defensive, but the moment it goes aggressive, it goes hard and punishes mistakes, punishes mispositions very aggressively. So if the Kingston Harriers do go aggressive, they can get turned on very quickly. I'm looking at just comps that are adept at kiting back, but then can turn it on when the time is right. You're looking for engage combos like your Jarvan Galio. You're looking for like maybe even a Rumble top lane that just plays a nice disengage role with his ultimate if he needs to with the equalizer, but when the enemy team's going aggressive, you punish their positioning by laying down that red carpet over the entire enemy team, and that can be enough in and of itself just to sway the fight. So I hope that this is what the kind of thing we end up seeing from the Stratford Spartans, playing around what they've seen in the previous weeks, because that's what we've seen not enough teams do, adapt to what we've seen in previous weeks with the Kingston Harriers. We've seen them consistently go in and they don't seem to respect the team and what they've already done. They come in and take them at face value and go, okay, we've checked the OPGGs, that's all we really need to do, rather than looking to the previous weeks, looking to the previous matchups and going, okay, this team was on stream on X, Y, and Z day, we'll watch those VODs, we'll see exactly where the mistakes are and how we can punish them. And honestly, if Arena Clash is going to improve, we need teams that are willing to do that. We need teams that are willing to go and check the VODs. We need people who are willing to coach themselves. And that's how you improve. That's how you go beyond Arena Clash up into the UKLC, into things like we've seen the Proving Grounds coming through. I believe Regan signed up for that, who's playing today. We need players who are willing to go beyond what is just expected of them, which is just show up every week and play. We need players who are able to actually commit more resources, commit more time, show that they want to improve in this competitive environment, to show that they can translate those skills into other competitive environments. I hope that they can do this. I hope that we do see improvement from individuals, because I have been disappointed week after week as we've seen teams just not do the prep work that's necessary, where we've seen teams disrespect time and time again. But like, that is why we're in this position we are this week, where the Tyneside Guardians and the Portsmouth Pirates have to rely on these final last-ditch games to make it to playoffs, because they got caught out by teams that weren't going to take that and upset. They got caught out by teams who ended up playing above their means and shutting down these bigger names than them. We look at like Stratford this week, who could go into the playoffs yet again for the second split in a row over the top of the Portsmouth Pirates. The second time in a row they could have upset them. And they're these plucky young upstarts that are hungry, these newer orgs that are hungry and want to take these teams down. So the respect needs to be there. And that's why I'm excited to see how these games go tonight and see if we can have the Tyneside Guardians and the Stratford Spartans still make it, even with the issues they've had earlier in the season, and maybe take out those Portsmouth Pirates, maybe take out the Colchester Centurions. Because it's really close in those groups, it's really tight. But I want to go and talk about the Lionhearts versus the Claymores. And since the Lionhearts versus the Claymores is a really exciting one, where And I'm going to have to cut myself off because pick and ban. High BMI, low IQ. So that is Kingston on the left, Stratford Spartans on the right. I throw Axes, known for his Draven. This is the thing we talked about before. So if he goes for that Draven again, I want to see them have a better counterplay to it than we've seen in previous weeks. Regan we talked about as well, known for the Syndra. Finally, we see the Draven ban come through. This is the first time I believe we've seen the Draven ban in a game one. There's last time we saw Stratford Spartans, I was pretty impressed by Turk Panther. Turk Panther's Morgana was on point. That was the, I believe we saw them play Caitlyn Morgana in that exact game, so I'd love to see that again. The Caitlyn Morgana from them was very crisp. They were able to consistently make these plays, and those Morgana bindings time after time were landing. And Pluko, I believe, had a very strong top side of the map as well. I believe he played Camille in one of those games, but he looked very strong. So I want to see the Stratford Spartans perform to that same level we saw them before. As we look at the bans, we can see Zed, Pantheon, Morgana's gone from Turk Panther, like we said. So they're studying the VODs. This is something I respect. They look at the Morgana, they say, Turk Panther was amazing on that Morgana last time around, so they've taken it away. They're not letting him go back to that pick that he played so well on in the past. The Draven, not going to Ithro Axis. I want to see how they adapt this now to the draft. What is Kingston Harriers going to go for in the AD carry position? Because Xayah is still available, and Xayah is high priority in the AD carry pool right now, but they're going to go for the Camille for high BMI, low IQ, because both of these top laners are known for playing the Camille. They have both played it in the past. High BMI, low IQ had some standout performances on it, and we remember Pluko had a fairly standout performance on it last time around. So that is definitely a high contest champion, but I want to see which one of these teams will take the Xayah and which one's going to have to go for the lower priority AD carry, because if Xayah slips through, I would be shocked. It's a really strong AD carry right now, and it's adept at doing that style we talked about that I want to see the Stratford Spartans do. Kiting backwards, being ready to punish the Kingston Harriers when they overextend. Pyke's adept at doing that as well. If you push too hard, his ultimate can completely turn a fight on its head and give you that pick, but it is the Renekton going into the top lane, into the Camille, you assume. So the Camille can be flexible. We've seen some people play it mid, but I don't believe it's a Regan champion. So picking the Renekton is 100% calling out high BMI, low IQ, saying, I want this matchup. I want to go aggressive, but it's left open Xayah Rakan in response. You've got a really solid engage combo now with the Xayah Rakan Camille. You lock a member in place. You get the Rakan getting a full combo off of them, and the pick potential is huge. You can pair this with the likes of, I actually want to see the Jarvan and the Galio paired with this, because you've got such a strong engage combination that is pretty much unstoppable at that point, so they are going to take away the Jarvan on the other side. And I want to see the Galio ban primarily, maybe the Orianna ban as well, because that pairs so well with the Rakan engages that we've seen in the past. Rakan has traditionally been one of the best ball delivery systems. I say traditionally, but since his release a year and a half ago, it's become one of the iconic engage systems. So Sejuani banned away. They are targeting that jungle pool. We see the Rek'Sai banned already. Worst case, you can fall back to a Lee Sin, you can fall back to a Xin Zhao, and you can still go aggressive as Coffee. But what I want to see, what I think is actually really like to see here, is the Nunu coming through from Coffee. I believe we've seen it from him before. It's an early aggressive jungler that's very tanky, very good at being that aftershock jungler in the early game, can contest Jarvan very effectively on these counter ganks and can play aggressively himself. And it also allows for that Galio combination to, if you go for a Galio as well, to lock people down in the Hextech Ultimatum, in the Rakan combo, to guarantee they get hit by the Grand Entrance, by the Rakan. You see the Galio come in as well. That everything is guaranteed to land, and then you have the absolute zero burst at the end of it. It can completely decimate a team fight. So I'd like to see that, but on the other side, we're seeing a much more solo lane-centric game, where, yeah, exactly, you play the Ezreal mid, he's hard to engage on, he's safe. You play like a 1-3-1, so I want to see a mid laner that can roam, can play side lane. I'd like to see a Rise come through from the Stratford Spartans, because that wave clears efficiently, it's got very few bad matchups, and you can just spread the map. You can avoid this 5v5, you can avoid the all-in at all costs. You can play Renekton in the top lane that's really hard to contest unless you send 2 to 3 members. You can play Ezreal mid, who's very hard to engage on, and then you play like a Ryze bot lane, who is just going to wave clear for days. The 1-3-1 is very solid. The Ezreal is so safe, while you've got the Jarvan and the Pyke roaming around the map, helping those solo laners out if they do get caught out of position, where the solo laners can have the can have the members collapse on them incredibly quickly. And having that collapse is enough to win out those side lanes. But interesting choices here, as that is an Echo jungle, I believe, coming through Kingston Harriers. This is a pick we saw at Worlds a bit, but I mean, it's the real Dade award from the World Championship was Echo, unfortunately, because he was meant to be a pick that was very strong. I know myself and Ender both touted him as a very strong jungler, but didn't really show up when you put him on the stage. The issue was that he's very much more of a solo queue jungler that scales pretty decently, but he's just a worse Elise in most cases. So he wants to start W. That was the big change. Everybody had been starting Q on him for ages and going for the talisman. Instead, the change was you start W, which gives you the shield initially, the stun on the camp, and gives you the execution damage once they get below a third. That execution damage adds up very quickly, and once you've actually landed 3 auto attacks with the execution damage proccing, you do more damage than you would have done with a Q anyway. Then you get Q level 2 and you go to Raptors or to Krugs, and it's a much more efficient clear that makes you much safer. And it's given him that ability to clear in the early game, get into that level 3, level 4 mark where he can gank, and that works much better for the Echo. But I want to talk about the final lock-in for the Stratford Spartans on the other side, which is the Orianna coming through. I like this as well because it's a fairly safe mid laner that can play into the Ahri. The only problem is Ahri has kill pressure in this lane at several points. She has kill pressure at levels 3, 6, and 9. When she's maxed her Q, she has kill pressure. When she's got all her abilities, she has kill pressure. On her first use of her ultimate, she has kill pressure. So Orianna has to work hard for wave priority. She has to use this TP incredibly efficiently and utilize that to shut down the Ahri, because if she hits level 6 first, that is where Orianna gets to get control of the wave, roam around the map, and if she can land a good ultimate combination with both Renekton and Jarvan, and indeed Pyke being all good ball delivery systems, there's ways for this Orianna to become big. It's down to Ahri to use her superior roaming and going for that more glacial setup that we've talked about in the past to enable the Echo, enable the Camille, and enable this roaming style, because not only do the Kingston Harriers have a comp that, as we've talked about, works incredibly well in the 5v5, they've built a comp that can survive in the 1-3-1. Ahri, very decent side laner. Camille can beat out Renekton in the side lane if she gets an early advantage. If we see that come through, then Glacial Ahri with a Rakan and an Echo to instantly follow up on those spooky ghosts can completely turn this matchup on its head from what we were expecting just before that Ahri was locked in. So this is where I don't like the the Orianna pick on the other hand, because I said they needed to go for a 1-3-1 style. They needed something that could be survivable in a side lane on its own. That's why I mentioned the Rise, who can ult himself to safety at any point. He can TP away. They've gone for the triple TP, so they clearly want to go through it for that 1-3-1 style, compared to the only single TP on the Kingston Harriers side. But they've got somebody who's exposed in the side lane in the Orianna. She doesn't have any mobility. All she has is that W to keep her safe. And unless you make some serious outplays, she's going to be collapsed on by the Echo, by the Camille, by the Rakan. Everybody can get on top of her so quickly, and that is what enables the team to shut her down and break this 1-3-1, because once one of the side lanes falls, everybody on the map is in disarray. Renekton can try and push, but if he's matched by a Camille, he can't push in. He's not gaining any advantage. Ezreal can try and push in. He lacks the push by comparison into Xayah. So if Echo and Rakan are enough to roam and shut down the Orianna, the whole 1-3-1 falls apart. Kingston Harriers win the game. So I expect this to be a Kingston Harriers win, but there are definitely avenues that which Stratford Spartans can punish if they utilize this roaming style effectively, but it comes from that mid lane. It comes very much from that mid lane, because the bot lane is losing early, the top lane's winning early. Jarvan has to go up to the top lane, get Renekton a slight lead to the point where he's sustainable and will survive on his own. Then utilize that, use that advantage to then drag Renekton down into the mid lane, allow Orianna to push at 6, and move their advantages into the bot lane together to get that Pyke around the kills around that level 6 mark. That is where the game can be won for the Spartans, but right now it looks like a Kingston Harriers victory to me, because the composition just seems a lot more easy to execute, especially when you talk about like the Glacial Augment Ahri. She is an incredibly easy to execute champion because the actives make it so much easier to land your skill shots. When you use that Super Soaker with the Hextech GLP, you get the Spooky Ghosts as well, and that's enough to just enable your team around you, but also empower yourself to make these collapses happen and go, guys, I've set up a pick, let's go. And you can be the shot caller for your team on a champion that's generally very hard to shot call from in the RA. Not really known for being a playmaking champion, it turns her into one. That's been one of my favorite things to see about the Glacial Augment. We saw Faker do it at Worlds on Nico. We saw the Lux do it earlier this year. We've even seen Morgana bot lane doing this. It enables you to shot call, and that's why I know a lot of people criticized Fnatic for this. That's why Reckless was put on Morgana in the first place. Reckless was the shot caller for that team. So they went, Reckless, we want you to shot call, so we're giving you a champion where you don't have to actually think about CSing anywhere near as much. You just easy shove wave, and you've got this Glacial Augment to be a playmaker, to enable the shot calling yourself, because he's desperately trying to fill that void that Caps left last year, because Caps was the previous shot caller for that team. That's why I'm thinking that obviously a lot of this is speculation, I can't say for certain, but Caps' void as a shot caller definitely seemed to be felt by that team, because in the mid game they'd pretty much just wait until they had a Reckless on 3 items to then finally try and make plays. So with the Morgana, the idea is at 2 items they can have him roam around and make these plays on his own, be the shot caller without having to just hard farm up for so long, and empower them in the mid game. That is what Glacial Augment is designed to do. We're going to get into game here, just seeing a line of scrimmage start from the side of the Stratford Spartans, but the Kingston Harriers all grouping up around this red buff, trying to dissuade any invade. Ezreal going to look for a bag of gold, just going to get the 5 gold and a mana pot from the Kleptomancy. That's a decent start. You know, you just you start pinging the gold in the chat, going, oh, I already win, it's GG. I've seen so many Kleptomancies in level 1 where you just end up walking out with like 250 gold or something, just from a quick trade at level 1, which is almost a kill already. And it just feels like the game's already done at that point. You go, well, I just win lane. It's so easy to get a better base timing off, and base timings are so important when you look at Ozmonkey versus Ithroaxis in the bottom lane here, because Ozmonkey has the TP. The TP is going to enable him to get a better tier slash Sheen base timing, while Ithroaxis is waiting for either the Berserker Greaves or the BF sword to build into the Essence Reaver. That is why the TP is so crucial, because forcing the base timing means you get back to lane quicker, you don't get a CS deficit in a lane that you're naturally losing, can save Ozmonkey so much of a deficit that you would have otherwise. And so now looking up in the top lane, this is one I said Renekton should win early on, but going for the Kleptomancy on the Camille is an interesting one. I think I'd much prefer press the attack here, as nice early hook lands. They get a big trade as Tuck Panther, we said that he was the driving force in the bot lane. He can push that bot lane forward. He can make them play more aggressive even when they pick a safe bot lane and take big trades like that. If they can consistently do that, they can shut down Ithroaxis, who has traditionally been where Kingston Harriers generate all of their leads. And so that would be crucial. You can see he's already developed a wave in advantage, and this is generally not what you expect from this matchup, but the Pyke doing so much. The Pyke is controlling this lane, and he's zoning them off of the CS so effectively. So now looking up in the top lane, like we were saying, Renekton should win this early, but the Kleptomancy means that Camille gets a bit more gold early and can get to that Tiamat spike a little bit earlier. Tiamat is the breakpoint for her. She wants to be able to try and shove the Renekton in. However, it means that as the game goes later and later, without that combat summoner, she is really going to hurt. So Fluko going in for a big trade, he procs the Conqueror, and we're seeing already, even though it looked like high BMI, low IQ won that trade, the Conqueror instantly changes that. He gets some healing, he gets the true damage, and he gets all that extra AD that Camille just lacks entirely. Is now the catch in the mid lane, the charm and the ignite lands. And Regan is going to get the first blood. And this is crucial now, because when Ithroaxis is struggling, the team consistently looks towards Regan in the mid lane to develop their advantages. Regan is their backup carry. We've seen him do it on the Syndra. We've seen him a couple times generate big leads in the mid lane, getting him a small lead against this Orianna, where we've said already he can start winning out this matchup and then carry on forward, get to that point where he can side lane effectively and consistently kill the Orianna over and over again. Getting him that first kill could be what sets him off now and gives him enough of an advantage to get a solo kill later on. But already, you're seeing the issue here, where Mitch Coles uses his TP to get back to lane, getting back quicker, evening out the CS entirely from that first blood. He's managed to stack up the wave as well, I believe, which is going to be even more of an issue when Regan returns. And this is why TP in these matchups, where even if you get killed, are so efficient, because you don't lose any experience in the end. You end up coming back with probably a positive amount of experience, but you still lose the kill gold, obviously. That's still a deficit, but it helps you make up in these matchups where you should be losing more than she actually is right now, as this is a short name, tries to get an engage off, but ends up getting cut short as Ozmonkey gonna burn the E anyway. A nice charm lands, just not quite the electrocute proc, but one more attack would have caused it. And just out of the timing, he really wanted to proc it with the with that potion, but now Pluko in the top lane going back in, playing very aggressively, gets him so low. He has the flash up, but they would trade flash for flash likely if he did. And unfortunately, that slight turnaround, as he didn't maybe think he had the damage to do it, is going to be enough to dissuade him. Renekton still winning out this top lane and forcing him back, but Echo going up there to try and force him off of the wave and respond. Tuck Panther roaming up to mid. Regan maybe caught out. Nice flash, full combo. The Jarvan's here as well. This is going to be a kill back. Who's it going on to? It is going to be Fake Quality picking it up. But now they have to make up for it. Mitch Coles has to do something with the CS lead. He has to stack the wave, because without picking up that kill, Ari still has the kill pressure. Ari still has control of the mid lane. He needs to be able to get to his Lost Chapter spike to be able to shove this in a bit more comfortably and be able to roam like we talked about once he starts to get those items. If he gets control of the mid lane, and if he gets the wave push, Ari's really going to be neutralized until she gets around that 2-item point with the Glacial Augment. But instead of going Glacial Augment, we're seeing the Electrocute, which means that if Ari's shut down in the laning phase, she's dead in the water. She's not going to have that opportunity to come online at 2 items. She's playing the pure assassin build. It's all down to Regan to develop his own advantages now. He can't rely on Coffee123 to do this consistently. He has to show that he is confident enough to not rely on his team with the Glacial Augment and wants to push all the advantages on his own with the Electrocute. Otherwise, I believe this is a mistake. So he has to prove that this was worthwhile. Now looking at the bot lane, you can see that the base timing was not quite there for Ozmonkey, so he lets Ithroax's base goes back to the base on his own, and instead of TPing, he set up the wave to bounce, so he gets to walk all the way back, keep a CS lead, and not blow that TP so he can take a bad trade and still get back to lane later on. We'll see if he utilizes that TP advantage soon. I'd like to see him utilize it, potentially if we see like a top lane dive set up, now that the Tiamat advantage is there for high BMI, low IQ. He has that wave control in the top lane. They should be looking for a top lane dive with Coffee123 since they can juggle the aggro so efficiently. The Hextech Ultimatum resetting the aggro, the Chrono Break resetting the aggro as Regan caught out again, uses the ult to dodge one, dodges the second. And he is going to get out alive, not having to blow the flash as Turk Panther does just enough. But the engage is turned around. Coffee123 is here, but Fake Quality burning down. He is going to go down to the Ignite if this is a short name. And in the mid lane, the TP is coming back through from Ozmonkey. This is the TP we talked about. Is he going to make use of it? No. Looks like he might even go down for it, as he's burning to death, burning low, but Turk Panther goes down in his stead, giving up his life to protect his AD carry. Now Regan, 2-1-1. He is set up for success. High BMI low IQ looking for a cheeky one. It's going to stop the recall. Flashes in, gets the Hex Tail, waiting, but the shield is enough to keep him alive. No! But might just go down to the tower on the other side. Ithroax is in the meantime cleaning up this bot lane tower as the aggression onto this mid lane tower is coming through. They're going to get a couple shards. They're going to get a couple kills. And this is what we like to see from the Kingston Harriers. Synergized aggression. Synergized moves around the map. And now the Kingston Harriers are all on the same page. We're seeing everyone benefit from it. Ithroaxes didn't have to be involved in the fight and picked up 2 tower shards in the bot lane. Regan was able to pick up a lot for himself in that mid lane as well. Now got that Dark Seal to 4 stacks. And even high BMI, low IQ got in on the action. Has a CS lead now for himself. Has a gold lead and has a kill lead for himself. This might not be much right now in the matchup, but the fact that he's going to hit his power spike before Pluko hits that Spear of Shojin can be huge. The big question mark will be if he can win this matchup now hard enough in the next few minutes to force Pluko into going a Black Cleaver, which is the defensive build, the more insecure build if you ask me, and maybe go for a Ninja Tabi just to try and survive the matchup, or if he still does rush the Shojin. That is the breakpoint for most Renektons. If they are too afraid and have to go anything other than the Shojin, they falter and fail. If they're able to go for the Shojin for themselves, That is where they get the strength, but they need to have the confidence, they need to have the early game power and the setup to be able to go for it. Otherwise, they put themselves in such a hole until they get there. So now we see the bot lane just being cleared out as it's been shoved in nicely by OzMonkey. It's an efficient bounce setup, but they are going to go for an engage. Turk Panther maybe caught out, but is going to dodge most of the feathers. The pullback is not going to be available. Going for the ult to try and pull back and gets it just before the E would have saved him. Ithroaxis looking comfortable here in this matchup yet again. We saw him struggling in those early game trades as Turk Panther was dictating the lane to Ithro, and this is a short name, but now they've got that level 6 mark. Now they have the confidence underneath them. Ithroaxis, and this is a short name, had the ability to go for that all-in and make it work for themselves. They're now comfortably in the lead as Zion nears her Essence Reaver, and that Essence Reaver is going to be one of the big breakpoints. Having that 20% CDR, having that crit chance, and when you get the Berserker Greaves on top of it is huge. That was actually really close there, because if you click on the Jarvan as he jumps on the wall, the slight delay before your E as Echo can teleport you over the wall with him, which would have been pretty funny to see as he ends up in the blue buff pit, maybe caught out of position with Turk Panther's collapse, but maybe the collapse now is onto Ithro, and this is a short name. He gets caught by everything there. Dashes directly into the hook from Pyke, gets caught out and dies for it. There's a really nice move by Turk Panther, having the patience to wait out the dash from Rakan, actually predicting it entirely, and then this is a short name, does end up dying for it. Nice collapse from Fake Quality, nice collapse from Turk Panther. They are going to win out that trade as finally some life is shown by the Stratford Spartans for the first time in a while. It is coming from Fake Qualities. Regan, you know, he's thinking about it here. He's looking for this. He's thinking they might go low from fighting the Ocean Dragon, which does slow the enemies as well, but he's going to back off towards the mid lane. Now looking for it as it's going low, isn't going to find the dragon. Are they going to find a kill back? The Rakan is just around the corner. Maybe they can go for the all-in engage here. They go for it. Gets a two-man charm into the knockup. Ari's still chasing. She gets one with the ignite. Chases down Turk Panther. And now Ithroaxis is there to clean it up. They lose the Ocean Dragon, but pick up 2 kills on the backside. Huge win again for the Kingston Harriers. And this is off of the back of them losing 1 member in the bot lane. 1 member and dragon for 2 members. But it's the Ocean Dragon, the most worthless of all dragons. Therefore, I actually think Kingston Harriers trade upwards on this, because the reset timing was so efficient. They just got back on the map, they get the kills, and they're instantly able to push with it. We're likely to see another tower shard go down in the bot lane, and this Rift Herald being picked up and used in the mid lane in the meantime is so much value that they're getting all at once. This gold lead is ballooning, and I'm not sure Stratford Spartans have the gas in the tank to stop this from turning on them so quickly. This mid lane tower very close to going down. They are going to kill the Rift Herald. This bot lane down to 1 shard as well. Suddenly, Stratford Spartans, I think if all these outer towers go down, they are on their last breath. They are on their last legs, as now even Coffee's pressuring them out of their own jungle. Stratford Spartans are struggling. They're being choked out, and I'm loving what the Kingston Harriers are doing. They're roaming around efficiently. They're making plays as a unit. They're not going for the solo plays we talked about in the past where they're overextending, where they're pushing too far forward. They're pushing just enough. They're pushing their advantages consistently to a point where they are pushing them into the face of the Stratford Spartans. Stratford Spartans can't forget that there is this big advantage, but at the same time aren't putting themselves at risk far too often. As they're trying to go for this tower dive, this might be the one risk too far, but with Regan just around the corner, they can't really be turned on easily. As a high BMI, low IQ had to blow the flash on the top side. They're getting turned on yet again. Regan finds another kill as, big shockwave, but the stun from the parallel convergence is enough, and Regan picks up another 5, 1, and 4. 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. The Ahri is looking so strong. The Ahri is a dominant force, but now high BMI, low IQ has to run for his life. Used his E already, isn't going to be able to get out. He has to go 1v1. Uses the stopwatch to buy some time, but it's not going to be enough. Maybe he's turning, but he might get out alive here. The blast cone's right there. He is going to get out with his life. High BMI, low IQ survives it, and they get the first tower in the bot lane because he bought enough time. He's still trying to get the kill on Fake Quality. He might just get it. He gets it and gives up his own life likely on the other side, but he gets another kill for Regan as he's collapsed on the top side. Everything coming up Harriers. And they look so good this game. Coffee even flashing the Pyke ultimate, so he doesn't give up that kill either. And Kingston Harriers, God, they are finding every piece of luck that they possibly can. The high BMI low IQ looked like he was going to give up the play. Maybe just about just dive for it, trying to burn as much as he could. He got the flash from Fake Quality, but decides he has the damage to take him down. Jumps back in, finishes off Fake Quality, and knows that he has just enough time, just enough damage to set up Regan to take down Plugo and get another assist. He's very close to that, rather, Triforce, as Mitch Coles is going to go down to the feather pullback here. Oh no, the mistiming on the pullback is going to cost them. Flashes forward, and they are going to get the tower to stop them from going down. As Coffee123 gets engaged up, but they are going to collapse and dissuade any further pressure from Turk Panther. As another tower goes down in the top side, every single time Stratford Spartans is looking to make a play, something else is going wrong for them on the other side of the map. And often they're just losing in two places at once, like this. They're losing the top lane tower. Turk Panther's about to go down in the mid lane, as Ithraxis maybe goes a step too far. But Coffee123 is there to back it up. Plugo is going down to Regan as he's going to find another kill. Likely here, the Ignite comes through. Not going to heal enough, and Regan finishes off yet another 7-1-4. Ithraxis pressuring in the mid lane. Coffee stopping any rotations through this jungle. They are all playing their part. And that is what's allowing them to keep this aggression up. They don't need vision pressure. They've got battle wards, and Coffee is being that battle ward as he charges through the enemy jungle, consistently being in the places team needs him. He dissuaded the engage onto Ithraxis, immediately was able to collapse up to the top side, and then manages to find another kill for himself. As high BMI low IQ, he has the mobility on this Camille to be able to escape these engages. And when you see the multiple members start to collapse onto the Camille, it means that they can play aggressively on the other side, as it means that, as you see here, Coffee123 and Regan are able to clean up this Krug camp, clean up this side of the this top side of the map, and get a nice reset off because they saw these members commit to the bot side. The issue we have now with Kingston Harriers, and we talked about the battle ward, which is useful to have as Coffee123 is looking really strong on this Echo, is roaming around efficiently and shutting down these pathways for the Stratford Spartans to be able to rotate into. But the issue is, the moment they overstep even slightly, the ward coverage is far too large from the Stratford Spartans to disrespect. The engage potential is still there. Even with 9k of an advantage, you still look at all the abilities they can layer on top of each other. You look at the pipe there, which can just execute somebody from a certain amount of HP. They need to start using these sweepers. They need to start pushing vision deeper into the enemy jungle. And having that level of control can be enough to just win you out the game and bleed out your opponents on its own. You don't have to go for every single aggressive play you can. It's nice to see this level of aggression, but against a better team, you're going to get punished for your lack of vision. And that is what I am worried about here, as Coffee123 finds a nice stun, which is going to probably net them this tower, but the engage comes through. Can we see a big shockwave? It's a bit too late, as Pluko manages to get a kill onto Coffee123, but all the members are going low. They get the shutdown onto Ithraxis, and it is going to dissuade them from pushing this any further. Is that they want to find this fight 4v3. I think this is risky with high BMI low IQ being so low. As now Regan trying to find the damage. They get one kill, likely to get the second onto the Jarvan as well, but instead, no, that is one kill turned around the blast cone, gonna drop Monkey over. And that is gonna be, unfortunately, a 3-for-2 towards the Stratford Spartans. And this is what we talked about. Because Fake Quality was able to loop around the back of that tower and get that engage off, they are dissuaded from going any further. And that's because they lack the vision pressure. They didn't sweep these wards in the topside jungle, which enabled them to utilize this rotation through the jungle to find a collapse behind, find the engage they needed, and dissuade this push any further. This slows it down, and if the Stratford Spartans find a few more of those plays, they get the pressure on the map to get the likes of a Dragon. We're seeing a TP come through from here. There's a flash engage from Camille, and the RE as they're going to finish off Monkey, zone off the Mitch Coles. And that's put them right back in control again. This is why Kingston Harriers are so scary. The moment they lose control, they're like, nope, we're going to find a pick yet again. They get right back on the map. They get right back in their faces. And they find so much there for... so much more there than should have really been there. So now going so aggressive. This is a short name. Shockwave lands onto one. Can Coffee123 gets out. He uses the Chrono Break to get back out. They are going to get the tower off the back of this. And they lose two members. The inhibitor likely to fall. Fake Quality still dead for another 30 seconds. but they are going to reset away. The health bar's blown, the ultimate's blown, and now they need to get back control of the map. Still a while before the dragon spawns, still another minute before the Baron spawns, so buy some pink wards, go back and reset, and get control. As I want to look at the items now coming through from the side of the Kingston Harriers. You see the fact that we're nearing a 25 stack Dark Seal from Regan. I want to see the stack race completed. I want to see him complete the book, finish his novel, and close this one out. But interestingly enough here in the jungle, I want to look at Coffee123. He's acknowledging that his team has so much damage that he doesn't need to be a damage source. He's just supplementary. He's just an extra there that's there to buy cooldowns, force enemy engages, and then get out with his ultimate. So he's gone for the Iceborne Gauntlet, giving a lot of armor, which helps him obviously survive the tower dives and the damage from the Renekton and the Pike, but also gives him that 20% CDR and the slow field, which gives a lot more utility to the team, and gives him that ultimate that much more often. This is a nice adaptation from Coffee123. It shows a nice awareness to his situation where he has to just play for his team now because he sees the 5-1. He sees the 5-1 Xayah. He sees the 9-1-6 Ahri. He's got full control of the map. He's just got the ability to play as aggressively as he wants, and that's a real luxury that he's got. But the engage here from Ahri, landing a Shaman to fake quality, and the EQ isn't going to be enough to get him out as he gets bounced back by the Hextech ultimatum. And it's going to get caught out around the Baron as well. With the jungler dead, Stratford Spartans have to find something big to dissuade this. The damage is here, but the tankiness might not be. As Kingston Harriers are all going to go low, this might be an opportunity for a big shockwave for the Mitch Coles if he finds his way in. As Turk Panther tries to find an ultimate, isn't going to be enough as Coffee123 has to ult to stay alive. It hasn't used the smite just yet, is going to secure it with the smite, but they are going to lose. This is a short name. Baron onto 4 with the inhibitor down in mid lane. They have the control on the map. They have the ability to end this. The vision pressure needs to be a bit more so they don't get caught out from a flank like they did last time. But I love what we're seeing here from the Kingston Harriers. So now the resets coming through. You've got to see the items that are coming out from this. The Zhonya's now coming through from Regan, facilitating more aggression. Zhonya's being finished is so important to them, but in the top side you look at high BMI, low IQ, who's looking to finish that GA pretty quickly as well. That GA will enable even more aggression from the Camille, who can play that much more further forward, knowing the team gets to collapse that much quicker. You got the Xayah, who I want to say is building a Phantom Dancer because she's got so much damage she can afford to. And just wants to survive that little bit of burst because the team is so squishy, so I'd love to see that from her. And then the team is just so hard to engage on, where even if you find the optimal, most perfect engage possible, Ahri Zhonya's is in. You've got a Phantom Dancer from Xayah and her ultimate to keep her alive. You've got Camille, who can dodge so much with not only the ultimatum, but having the GA would keep her alive as well, but maybe they don't even need those spikes. As we see a kill onto Fake Quality, gives them the control to go for this. Again, Coffee goes deep. Coffee goes hard, and they find 2 kills. Fluco maybe caught out here, maybe going to go down, and is, as they find the tower with 4 members dead, judged to the Mitch Coles alive. And in 22 minutes, the Kingston Harriers special, a quick game 1 in a dominant force of aggression. The Kingston Harriers find their game 1, but in game 2, they've consistently made those mistakes. In game 2 is where they've looked weaker. Will we see a repeat of last week, where they finally find their 2-0, even if it takes 44 minutes? Or will we see a comeback from the Stratford Spartans where they find their 1 win they need to? It is still all to play for, even with this much of a dominant display in game 1. I'm very impressed by what we're seeing from the Kingston Harriers, but at the same time, we have to acknowledge the mistakes they made. And we talked about the warding. There are opportunities for Stratford Spartans to punish this aggression. They drafted a comp that wanted to punish mistakes and mispositions around the map, not so much punish aggression so well. What I'd like to have seen a bit more is a bit more mobility around the map from the mid lane. Like we talked about the Galio for quite a bit. When you've got the Jarvan plus Galio Jarvan, when you run like you go like Relentless Hunter, you can move very efficiently around the map very quickly. You get the Galio to collapse, and you punish where the team is over aggressing very quickly. You're able to get to where the multiple members are committing and stop outnumbered situations. So I want to see more of that in Game 2 from the Stratford Spartans, and that is where they can take a game. And like we said, one game is all they need to knock out the Portsmouth Pirates. And so we're going to go to a quick break before that Game 2. And we are back for Game 2 of the Spartans versus the Harriers. Harriers took Game 1 yet again in commanding fashion. Another 22-minute victory for them seems to be the standard this season. But yet again, the Game 2s either go long or go against them. So we'll see how they adapt to Game 2, if they're able to keep up that aggression, or if, more to the point, the aggression gets adapted to by the Stratford Spartans. I want to see changes in the draft that I've already discussed. And those changes in the draft could be enough for the Stratford Spartans to start to turn this, but a lot of it comes down to execution in-game, understanding of how this team consistently plays, because they don't just let you sit back, farm up, and scale. They will be at you in every lane at the same time. That is what I respect about the Kingston Harriers, but they do the very much more Chinese style than the old Korean style, where they never set up their plays. They never look to... Well, it's the old Chinese style. The new Chinese style is much smarter than that, but the old Chinese style was you never set up your plays. You just go for aggression where the enemy isn't going to expect it. I remember, like, it's not a Chinese play, but there was a player from Rush years ago, a play from Rush years ago, where he literally walks from mid lane into the top lane on a gank as Lee Sin, walks over 2 green wards and a pink ward on his way up to top lane. He gets spotted 3 times, pinged about 6 times, walks behind the enemy tower, just full combos Zanar and solo kills him. And he does that because he just literally just walks up and kills him, because he knows exactly what he can do. He knows exactly his damage potential, and he knows that if the enemy doesn't respect him enough, he will just punish them for it, regardless of warding, regardless of vision pressure. He was able to do that. And that's really what Kingston Harriers are trying to emulate, where you just, even if you've got all the wards down, if you don't have the members there, it doesn't matter. If you're not backed off far enough behind your tower, it doesn't matter. You're going to lose either the tower or your life. And they, like most of the time, they seem to be taking both. So there needs to be either very early adaptations from the Stratford Spartans, where instantly when someone's spotted on a ward, they're backing off and making a play on the other side of the map in an outnumbered situation over there, or they need to have members collapse on that play. And this is why I'm telling them they should adapt this way, where you've got, for example, in the top lane play, let's say there's 2 people trying to dive a Camille. It's an Echo and an Ahri. They're both trying to dive the Camille on the top side. Suddenly Galio ults in. Maybe you've got a Shen ult or something like that in support. Just like these kind of global abilities that enable you to get around the map. They had triple TP, but they weren't able to utilize it effectively enough. They were consistently TPing late into fights and dying for it. If they have the ability to play global without the access to the TP, then that's much more efficient. They can go for the TPs and this on top of it, but I need to see the movements be there. I need to see the team be on the same page, ready to collapse at a moment's notice, because that is how you shut down this Kingston Harriers roster. That is how you look to be more controlling. And you know, I may be a bit lonely out here tonight, but I know there's going to be... I know I'm going to get hopefully joined shortly by Harry Dr. Evans, who will be coming in to assist me as my play-by-play. He might end up actually jumping in the middle of the game, so just going to warn you about that one in advance. But yeah, he's been here before at Belong. He's casted here before, so hopefully he'll know the ropes. As worst case, I'm going to guide him through it and talk about the games. But yeah, if you are watching, hit me up on @SRCCYN on Twitter, and just let me know who you think is going to win this game. Any thoughts on these pick and bans? Any thoughts on the analysis I've given? If you want to just yell at me and tell me I'm wrong, or you're the admin of the Stratford Spartans and you're going to tell me that I'm abusing your team, go ahead. I'm open to hearing it. But already we're seeing very similar bans to the last time around. It was the Draven on one side, it was the Kai'Sa on the other. Then we saw the Morgana ban as well come out from the Kingston Harriers last time. This time the Ahri banned away from Regan by the Stratford Spartans, respecting how well he played that one last time. Choosing to go for the Electrocute, he proved why he did it. He proved it was worthwhile, and I respected him a lot for being able to utilize the pick so aggressively and finding the aggression he needed to win that one out. It was impressive performance, and the team really relied on that after the bot lane started to fall behind early on. It carried them through into the mid game, carried them through until the point where I throw axes, and this is a short name, were able to find their own advantages. So I'm hoping that he still has something else in the pool that can impact the game in the same way. Like we said, his Syndra has been something he's been known for in the past. We'll see if he does choose to fall back to that one. So we're just waiting on the final ban here. Pantheon yet again, exactly the same bans from the Kingston Harriers. Stratford Spartans banning the Ahri is leaving... I can't remember what they're leaving open here. We'll have to check in a moment. But the Xayah first picked instantly for the Stratford Spartans. They're not going to let that Xayah Rakan bot lane go to the Kingston Harriers yet again. And so... Who's going to take the lower priority AD carry? So it was Ezreal last time from Ozmonkey. I have to see how the Kingston Harriers respond, because we've seen I throw axes fall back to the Ashe in the past when both Xayah and Rakan are gone. They're once again going for an early priority Camille. It worked for them last time as Pluko started winning in the early laning phase, but Camille won out the matchup overall. That wasn't through just the team winning on the map. He was able to outplay in those 1v2s. And that was why Camille ended up winning out that matchup, because the Renekton never became enough of a threat. The Renekton wasn't played around, and there is the Syndra that we talked about. There is the potential, loose potential though it may be, for this Syndra to go bot lane, so I think we need to be aware of that. But at the very least, this is most likely to be Regan on the Syndra, leaving that AD carry pick to third, maybe even leaving it to one of the later picks in the draft, which could cause it to be banned away. But they put so much priority into I throw axes in the past because he's been so aggressive with these Draven picks, and even the Ashe picks he was playing so aggressively on. I expect them to lock in an AD carry next, and I'd like to see it be an aggressive one. You know, my brain's saying Vayne, but my brain's saying not Vayne, but my heart's telling me just pick Vayne, play aggressive, do it. Pick Vayne Nautilus or something like that, and just run it at them. Play against the Xayah Rakan and punish them for it. But the banning of the Morgana means it's harder to play against the Rakan, so I expect them to ban it away during the second ban phase, as we see the Kayn come through from Coffee123 this time. So the Kayn is a counter pick to the Sejuani. Kayn is known as a counter pick to Sejuani because Red Kayn does percentage health damage. He shreds through tanks, and Sejuani's a melee champion, which enables him to stack up that Red Kayn that much more quickly. And I believe if Doctor does come in, he has actually played a lot of Kayn, so I believe he's going to have some things to say about that. But the Kayn is just known for its ability to counter Sejuani, especially when you use your ultimate on her in the late game, because she's got like 3,000 health, and you heal based on a percentage of your opponent's health. Kayn comes out of Sejuani's body on full HP, ready to fight yet again, even if he's been bursted so low. And he can keep going because he's got low cooldowns. You go for like that Black Cleaver plus Death Stance into full tank build, and it enables Kayn to be a menace. And especially when you've got a big front line like Nara and Sejuani, I'm excited to see how this impacts the game. And when you've got Camille, who can divert that front lane completely, jump through them into the back line, and the Syndra, who can play through the front line as well. This is a really good front-to-back composition, but I'd like to see a little bit more of a dive buddy for Camille, so she's not there on her own. Because Kayn, in red form, not the most adept at diving, more so is looking to just play through the front. Oh, is that a Swain support? This could be a Swain support. Okay, I've heard a lot about this from Orcs. Orcs did a whole piece on this where he did a lot of research into the champion, how it works, trying to understand why Swain support was working the way it did, because it's very good at playing aggressively in the lane. You can stack up those souls, and once you've gotten to a point where you've got enough souls, your ultimate just instantly heals you up several hundred. You can think of it similarly to like a Renekton ult, and although you don't have Spirit Shojin, you gain a bunch of health instantly, you've got an aura around you that deals damage, and you can still use your abilities while casting it. Maybe more similar to Nasus, but it's very interesting to see how Swain plays even from that support role. But let's not quite neglect for the fact that we have seen an AD carry a couple times. On the other side, it's going to be Xayah Alistar. Very good aggressive bot lane because Xayah able to use his full combo. Alistar able to use the full combo, and Xayah can instantly pull back the feathers through somebody to be able to root them down and keep them honest at the very least. So the Gnar in the top lane, and ooh, this is an interesting one then. Okay, where is everyone going? Because Yasuo is very good into Orianna. This means it could be Syndra Swain bot lane. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's Syndra Swain bot lane, Yasuo mid. Because Yasuo counters Orianna. You're able to put up the wind wall, block her combo because the ball just hits the wind wall and never makes it to the minions. You're able to shut that one down. But the Syndra Swain bot lane is hyper aggressive in the early game. So the whole reason that mages are played in the bot lane, and I believe I brought this up last week as well, is because ADCs have a long ramp up time. They take until 2 to 3 items to get to that point where they can be really strong. Mages, you hit level 6, you're strong enough. You've got everything you need to be strong in the game. So Syndra and Swain, both mages, will be incredibly strong once they get all their abilities at 3, once they get their ultimates at 6, and at that 1 item mark, crucially. So that is where these two should win out. But from there onwards, if they've not built up an advantage, they start to get outscaled because the Xayah has that extra damage. The Xayah has that extra scaling as the game goes on, so it can be fairly difficult. But where I'm looking at the Kingston Harriers right now and thinking, where is the team lacking? And it is in that consistent DPS department. They got a lot of burst with the Syndra, the Swain, and the Kayn and the Camille, but without range DPS, relying on the Yasuo to be a melee DPS, they are very squishy and they can get torn apart by a Sejuani ult, an Alistar combo, a Gnar ult. The big beefy frontline of Stratford Spartans is going to be a lot more easy to punish the aggression of the Kingston Harriers when they push too far. Once again, no tank composition from them. The Kayn gonna be tankier as he goes on, but he has to build like 2 damage items before he can go tank. Swain, not a very tanky champion until he starts to stack up those souls. So if we see that level 9 mark hit, and there's no advantage at all on the map for the Kingston Harriers, I expect the Stratford Spartans to win this out. But if Kingston Harriers are able to punish in the early game, get in the face of Ozmonkey and Turk Panther, balloon their leads like they did last time around, then I believe that the Kingston Harriers can take this one, but it has to be off of that early game pressure. One moment. This episode brought to you by water. So I want to talk about matchups now, because we talked about Yasuo versus Orianna, and Yasuo can win out that matchup, but Orianna does have push, and Yasuo has to use a 20-second cooldown to stop her trading potential. So in the early levels, Orianna wins out, but when Yasuo can basically go, whenever I use my wind wall, I can all in you. You have to back away from the wave. That gives Yasuo about 10 seconds of access to the wave that Orianna can't contest whatsoever. And that 10 seconds is all he needs to get in, get out, and stop the Orianna from being able to push. It's another situation where the Mitch Colds needs to have control of the lane early. And another thing, you guys should know if you've watched this a few times, if you watched the show a few times, one of my biggest pet peeves is Sejuani with no melees. The only melee champion on this team is Alistar to help her proc the E passive, and Mega Gnar. Mega Gnar is not what you're relying on here. If you're ganking the Camille, you're going to be ganking where you're going to be ganking when the Camille is likely pushing in with the Tiamat. You're not going to be ganking while the Gnar's in Mega Gnar form unless he's immediately turning into it. So not really many examples, not really many opportunities for Fake Quality to find and engage in that top side. So you have to look more towards the mid lane for him to punish the Yasuo. You have to look for him to try and set up this Orianna throughout the early game. And if she gets control and is able to start roaming around the map, that is where the Orianna can start to punish out this Yasuo. We talked about the very squishy composition from the side of the Kingston Harriers. So what it's relying on very much is getting to that 2-item spike before they can really be contested. Once you start to see like the Zhonya's Hourglass come through, the Phantom Dancer come through from Yasuo, you see, for example, just some health on these champions, some more defensive items that are Bruiser-esque, like we said, Zhonya's. And even the Black Cleaver from Kayn has to be a big one here. Because once those come through, they look unstoppable, but they need to have an advantage in the early game to be able to get there uncontested. So the moment you start to see that 2-3 item spike come out, it's nearly done for the side of the Stratford Spartans. So we're getting in on to the Rift. So we're seeing all 5 stack up again from the Kingston Harriers.
Looking like they're just going to...
Hello. Hi, Harry.
What's going on? How are we doing today, lads?
So, I mentioned in the Champion Select, with you showing up very soon, a Kayn pick would interest you.
Oh, boy! Oh, he's going Conqueror. Okay.
He's going Red Kayn because he's against the Sejuani.
I'm still not happy about it.
Wait, this is what you do into Sejuani. This is the counter pick.
I'm a flagrant blue Kayn abuser, okay? Blue Kayn is not balanced, no matter how far behind you are. The second you get Duskblade, you're good to go. But admittedly, if you're going to be playing Red Kayn, if you're playing Rast, because again, insecurity, Sejuani's probably the pick to go for there.
This is the best matchup.
Yeah, you're not going to get something better than Sejuani.
This is the single best matchup for Red Kayn, other than like a full tank Sion top lane and then an Ornn mid lane or something like that.
So I heard you say... Yeah, I heard you say Kayn earlier when you're going through the picks. I'm like, okay. And then I heard you say Black Cleaver. I'm like, oh no.
I'm thinking like, yeah, because that's the second item when you go in Red Kayn, right?
Oh yeah, but that,
yeah.
you know, the second half of that sentence was the issue. But in any case, so Harriers, correct me if I'm wrong, Harriers, I think they're pretty comfy right now when it comes to
they're
playoffs.
3-0 in the group right now. They are in the
Yes.
playoffs regardless. So to go over game 1 was a 22-minute stomp where they played hyper aggressively everywhere in the map on the map at once, and they're able to pressure out, find their advantages, and snowball them as quickly as possible.
Well,
But
they might
consistently,
try
Kingston
again.
Harriers have struggled with the game 2s.
Yeah, they do have Sejuani coming down bot lane very early, very quickly. And no defensive summoner available here. And she's just walking into a lane. Going to go ahead, take that Q and get the knock up and force a flash out. And the level 2 Sejuani gank, not something you see very often, but apparently effective.
Like we said though, the mages in the bot lane, they spike hard very early. But once the early game's done, they start to fall behind as now Coffee123 ganking mid.
Yeah, Mitch forced to blow out his flash. You'll have to see, is the W going to come through? No, it won't, but the tornado is enough. Coffee, only level 2. And again, level 2 Kayn gank. Not something you expect to see. I think he thinks maybe Kane's going for the invade onto the blue there. He's very confident to play up. And Kane's like, okay, cool.
Just trying to trade sides of the map, yeah, assuming that Kane's going to be happy to do so. There's big combo.
Yeah, that should be able to get out there with just the heal being blown and the knock-up coming through from Alistair as well. But
still, that should be like that's the potion burned. He has to play quite far back in the lane now as well.
you do have to be a bit scared, but don't forget your jungler is in the area. Sejuani coming down, but she is on a ward. Looks like Short Name's not too scared, and probably because he has confidence in Axe, but the root does land. They put onto Sejuani. She takes another Q, no heal available. The flash forward isn't enough, and Ignite secures the kill. A nice headbutt launches Axe's back, forced into a 1v2, and now going to run through the lane, surely only to be run down. And who do we give the kill over to? Is it the support? Is it a jungler? It's neither! It's neither! They get the root, they get the knockback. And now he's starting to run for his life. No flash available for the Alistair. Flash was up for Sejuani, but they decided, no, we don't want to deal with the Yasuo here.
What a route from the swing there to turn that one.
And
It looked like it was just a sacrifice. You're giving up iThrow, going, we got the kill, it's fine, we'll trade his life for it. But no, he gets out as well. In this early game, everything's coming up Kingston Harriers, and I want to look at the mid lane because we saw Regan get first blood on that Yasuo. And we said this is during Champions Select. This is a matchup that generally goes in the favor of the Orianna early. She's able to shove it out, and once Yasuo starts to get those items, he can play more aggressively with the Wind Wall. But getting that first blood, it looks like he's got so much more control in this lane.
Yeah, as we can see right here, just dashing in flagrantly, throwing out the deeps onto Orianna. Very well played to stay outside of the tower aggro there, but.
Yeah, so the
Kayn actually coming in through the top side using that Shadow Step to get through the wall.
Pluko
very low, gets the hop over, but nicely read, nicely flashed. And then Nar does get out of life. Now they might look for a little bit more flash forward. I was thinking maybe we see a Hextech sweep, but no. We just take the hook shot, flash, and gonna have to recall out there, but Sejuani nowhere near. We take those. Just
enough to get into that brush, not going to be collapsed on with Sejuani nowhere near, as you say. Very easy to help him get that one out, get out alive on the side of that. And it's going to be another kill going through the early game of the Kingston Harriers. So I'm really impressed so far that they've managed to keep up this aggression, even with an entirely different draft. Only high BMI, low IQ on the same champion as last game. They've still got the confidence to get right into the face of the Stratford Spartans, who have to win just one game here to secure themselves playoffs over the Portsmouth Pirates. If they
Portsmouth Pirates are the other team. Oh no!
If they lose 2-0, then Portsmouth Pirates make playoffs. If they win one game, Portsmouth Pirates are out.
Oh, they only have to win one game, not Portsmouth? Okay, bit of backstory. I live in Portsmouth. Actually, I lost the qualifiers. I'd say jungle difference, but I was jungling, so I'll say mid difference instead. Our mid was he's a EUNE Twitch jungle one trick. He was D4, assured us he could play mid. It weren't great. It weren't great.
It doesn't sound like it went too well. So, Stratford Spartans at 2-1 right now. If production can clean this up for me. So I thought that the idea was if they win 1 point, if they get 1 point here, and they lose game 3. Right, so that turns out they need to actually win the whole match against the Harriers here to clean this one up.
Not looking like they're going to be getting any closer to that with this gank, but a little bit of 3v3, no stuns connecting through from the Sejuani Kayn, moving very far forward, just trying to get some of those red orbs stacked, and the root is flashed away.
So the nice little gank coming through, nice stun from iThrow Axes. He's been playing really aggressively on this Syndra so far, and I've been rather impressed with his Syndra play, considering he's known as iThrow Axes for his Draven. that he's showing so much prowess on mages. We've not seen him play a mage the entire season so far, so to have him play it with this level of confidence is really astounding. It's showing nice adaptation coming through.
Pluko, you've got a wave to get there, mate, but it looks like he might just go for the kill instead. Nice shield, and actually, okay!
It.
The third auto coming out enough. Maybe hookshot wasn't quite available.
I think he messed up his hookshot at the start of it.
Oh, okay.
See, he missed the wall on it, and so it was easy to just go, let's just run him down.
Sure, you hate to see it. But something about the bot lane that should be interesting is, so I feel like Syndra Swain isn't that insane of a lane that you normally think about, because Swain really likes to be with someone who's got point-and-click CC, or just like easy to hit CC somewhere, even if it's like a Draven.
Even if it's just a Morgana,
Yeah, just like anything you can pair him with. Syndra's CC isn't as easy to hit, and also she's pushing people away, he's pulling people in, so you get a bit of anti-synergy there, but you do now end up with this double mage bot lane, and so I feel like if you just rush a Hex Drinker as the Xayah, yeah, you're losing out, obviously delaying your crit, you're not getting a BF sword, but at the same time, you're also just never losing any trades, and we kind of take those, you know?
Yeah, you definitely take those trades, and...
But no, actually just going straight into Caulfield's going for the Essence Reaver, so we'll have to be very frugal with that ultimate, be very careful you don't get immediately boomed.
The issue is with it, because the timing's so telegraphed and your positioning's so telegraphed, you either have to flash right at the end of it, or Syndra's gonna land that stun, because the range on it is so high that you consistently see the moment someone's invulnerability has ended, that QE coming through from the Syndra, she is able to consistently find those, and that's gonna be enough most of the time to clean it up. And that is why I'm actually worried for this going forward.
Well, they might be in a little bit more trouble once again, as Sejuani is hanging around the bot side, and there's a pink in that Tribush. Pair that up with a Camille in the mid lane, though, and the flash is forced out now. The ultimate drags the S1 to tower. He's going to take an extra hit, but 3 people near means that Mitch cannot move forward. He might look just for a little bit of harassers now. Short name. That's not where you want to be, mate. He gets knocked up by the Alistar, but meanwhile, Mitch was knocked up in the mid lane. Okay, cool. Alistar flashing forward, gets the stun down, but
the Xayah zoned away.
Team, but she's zoned away, but his Axis. No, okay, Axis getting the kill. Think maybe you can headbutt him towards a tower or something, but that's a level 4 Alistar. That's a level 6 Syndra.
Yeah, the level 6 proves to be enough to win that one out, and is going to be the level advantage coming through, because you can see the 24 CS lead already. They're going to get a tower shot off the back of this as well. The Syndra is so far ahead. This 4K lead at 9 minutes is so huge. Even if Regan is at risk here, the bot lane is going to go down for it, likely.
Yeah, looks like a big trace coming ahead. The stun's not connecting, and the Swain just living, but now 0 health. But the Duke on the 1Q there for Fazai. She's now looking, maybe going to see the lightning come through. And Short Name says, you know, we're taking the 1-for-1. At least we get assist gold. We can't say the same for Plako. Looks like he is immediately going to go down. The Hextech ultimatum. Even the Umbral Blade there coming out as well. He just kills all over the map.
And that bot lane play, I actually want to come back to it, because the Swain giving up his life knowing
I mean, we are coming back to bot lane Tux, looking for something here. No mana for the knockback, so the ward down into the combo. Get the ignite, get the kill. Oh no, he doesn't get it! He
escapes again on minimal HP once again. Ithroax is living when all signs point to death.
Oh my lord, I think he was so confident that the ignite was going to have that. And just turns away, says, yeah, we'll get the fade away, and then Ithro living on minimal amounts of health there.
And so Ithro once again, look at how big this gold lead is. 5.5k we're nearing at 10 minutes. Kingston Harriers, this is a much more to standard of Game 1 performance that we've seen from them. We generally see them slow down, run out of steam as these series go on, but they're proving me wrong here today, and I'm happy to see it, because coming into the playoffs, they need to show that they can play these longer series.
Okay, so it's not looking great. You know. They can. You're thinking about the longer series. I'm sort of thinking about the longer game here.
I'm just looking at the Kingston Harriers, thinking the fact that they have to go up against a bunch of other teams who are still undefeated if they go into the playoffs.
Ah, that's true.
So there's going to be a lot of competition coming through for them, and if they can't play these long series and start to get worn out after one game like we've seen them do in the past, then I'm not convinced that they can beat some of these people out in a best of 5. They're going to get it turned on them. So proving that they can 2-0 2 weeks in a row after going 2-1 in the first 2 weeks is enough for me to give Kingston Harriers a lot of credit going into the playoffs.
I see, and have their opponents been going just 2-0 every single week? Or has there been a mixture of 2-0s, 2-1s sort of thrown?
Well, they're currently 3-0. Oh, is it like the other teams?
The other undefeated teams, yeah.
Other undefeated teams generally just 2-0, yeah. Almost every undefeated team is pretty much undefeated in game score as well. There's only 1 or 2 that are not.
Well, a dub is a dub, and a dive is a dive, as now Yasuo goes on in, trying to find the one kill, will find it, but is immediately traded back, but that is one Panky Swain underneath the tower, throwing down his ultimate and landing the root onto the Zai as well, who is pulled on in. Manages to actually find one kill back, I think, there in the end, but...
Yeah, they get the kill onto Swain, but the Umbral Blade being used right at the last second just to reset aggro, so he had a chance to get out of tower, is going to be enough for Coffee123 to get out alive. As High Bear, my low IQ, he's surviving this top lane. He had a much better game last time around, but we saw him really come into fruition when he was able to start roaming, when he was able to start setting up plays for his teammates. And that's where I'm expecting him to show up big again.
This is a good time to take the trade, just as Nargo's many do have the ultimation available if you want to use it. He's going to throw it down.
He's done.
Dashes out onto the wall and gets himself a nice free kill.
Yeah,
I mean, you just have to be careful of the mini-Gnar.
Yeah, once you go into mini-Gnar and you have that exhaustion, there's not much you can do. You get a little burst of movement speed when you turn into mini-Gnar to help you run away, but chose not to run away, stayed in the fight, and that is what cost him dearly. As on the other side of the map, even though they get a solo kill on top, they get an Ocean Drake at the same time. This is what we see Kingston Harriers do, is generally you tell teams, when your jungle is pushing the bottom side and is trying to get objectives on the bottom side of the map, don't go aggressive in the top side. He has the confidence to go for that play in spite of that, and Kingston Harriers just win on multiple sides of the map at once.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, guys, I know I don't have the backup. I know that maybe Sejuani's here.
Yeah, but this guy's
He's like,
Camilo.
Look at it, dude. Like, well, now Sejuani actually is here, but I don't think that's going to be quite quick enough. 600 gold in the pocket there. And now actually getting some decent damage out. I have to see if the frost is going to come through, but everyone just walks away. Having said that, though, Coffee is walking towards the top lane. Maybe a 2v2 comes up soon.
So Coffee now, 3-0-2 is really strong, and it's just so easy for him to take out fake quality like this when he's got the Conqueror propped. And it's, so little he can do, but the stun is going to be enough to get him out alive. The Camille trying to chase him down is now in the mid lane. Regan.
Oh, a bit of maybe miscommunication there between Orianna and the Alistar, and now Sejuani. We've seen hookshot flash a few times too many this game as IBMI low IQ grabs that kill, now looks for the second, actually throws down the Zhonya's, but they have no way to get through Bluco right now. Is the shield going to come in time? No, it will not, as Bluco gets that kill, but a nice shockwave in the mid lane. Regan tries to turn it around, the mana is low on the Orianna, and a lovely wind wall to keep the ball away. Now it's a 2v1 situation. Turk is not going to be able to get anyone out of this one, and he will go down, but meanwhile Bluco grabs another kill in the top lane.
So we said at the start of this game, when you're playing this very squishy composition with very snowbally champions, if you don't get advantages before that level 9 mark, if you don't start to see, I was thinking around like 3-4k in the advantages, half an item.
You can't walk up here, man.
Oh, God.
Walk up's immediately going to be pulled on back in. Nice route will be ulted away from Butts. This means the Syndra still has her ultimate. Could go for the flash ult. I think choosing not to do it instead, probably a smart idea, as the rest of the Goon squad is behind that tower, but the mid lane tower is no more.
So when you start to get to this level 9-10 mark, and you see the half an item advantage, when you've got this very squishy composition, that squishiness stops to matter, because you see the Phantom Dancer coming through from Regan. You see I Throw maybe potentially going to even build into like a Zhonya's Hourglass. You see the Black Cleaver about to come through from Coffee123. That is enough to mean you're not squishy anymore, because your level advantage, your item advantage makes up for that lack of tankiness you have, and it means that you're able to just burst through the enemy team quicker than they can burst you down, and you've got a more effective health than them. There's very little to stop the Kingston Harriers.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Having more items will indeed
give
you more stats.
But the item disparity is finally enough to outdo the lack of tankiness in the composition.
When you say lack of tankiness, and Pluko just immediately dropping there. It's
so
hard to itemize against
it's like
the
poetry, they rhyme.
Oh my god, how do we do it? And now, after seeing how his top laner fell so spectacularly, I guess Turk wants some as well. He goes in for the headbutt, loses his aftershock immediately, and now has no way to defend himself as the Camille is walking in forward. Has no. Oh, he was baiting for his jungler the whole time, but I think High BMI probably ends up winning this one either way. Throws down a nice Q2, get a nice bit of damage. Now waiting for those passive shields, and we'll have to see if it's enough. A heal comes through, and it's not quite, but actually, I think getting himself killed there with the hook shot, snapping him back into the flail.
And unfortunately getting caught out of position, but the fact that they commit those two members to the top side, they spend so much time up there, gives the rest of the team the comfort for Regan to push up the bot side. They're getting the mid lane tower at the same time. And now even Coffee going to clean up the top side. It's, instant burst onto Osmonkey.
You know what would have been a nice item to have there?
What?
X Drinker.
Yeah, maybe.
Could have been pretty useful as Regan. also goes down in the middle lane there, or bot lane even, but people just getting banged left, right, and center.
Okay, so we talked a bit earlier about the matchup going on right now between London and the Clyde Claymores. They're both 3-0 in their group so far. They're going up against each other for the first time this season, and whoever wins that series goes on to take the group. Currently, Glasgow has lost game 1, our reigning champions, the London Lionhearts, currently in the lead in that series. So I'm excited to hear how that one continues as the day goes on, because as both of them undefeated so far, both of them former champions, it's definitely a very storied matchup.
I remember when the Portsmouth boys were the former champions.
That's years and
Whatever
years ago
happened.
now, mate. It's all done.
The good old days.
I believe there's like no members of the original Portsmouth Pirates roster still there.
No, yeah, that's probably because we lost it. No, we were
Mental boom.
yeah. Who was it? It was I think we were.
Oh, you tell me.
We were missing Flubber and Shaven, but still Rhydona and Divinus. Still there.
And so now they're getting the Ocean Dragon, going to be the second dragon of the game. There's 11k advantage. You have to say, like, the advantage was 9k at around 10 minutes. The advantage hasn't really been snowballed that much further. They're struggling to really do more than just take a couple towers, get some CS. And I really need to see the team group up as 5 for the first time this game. Now they've got this Rift Herald and utilize that advantage that they've got in items to just win out a 5v5, potentially close the game off of that, maybe even before the 20-minute mark if we're lucky.
We'll have to see. It shouldn't be too hard for the Harriers to try and end this one out. But like you say, Stratford have stemmed the bleeding a little bit. They are still missing all of their limbs, akin the Black Knight. But actually, they might be able to find a few kills here. They do manage to get the GA out of the Camille, and now Kane inside their base, but he's going to be able to waltz on out, and now Reagan landing a lovely knock-up. He's going to go a little bit further, but the defense is here from the Mega Gnar. They're going to try and find a few more kills, but it just seems to be a whitewash from the Kingston Harriers here. Pluko trying to do what he can, but it's not quite enough, and now the Herald.
And this is exactly what we talked about before, though. The lack of tankiness made up for by items. The GA keeping high BMI, low IQ alive. Coffee 1c3 coming out on above half HP from ulting the Sejuani. The items and that level 11 mark for Coffee is enough to make up for the lack of tankiness now, because they've got that much of a lead. If they didn't have any kind of lead, that fight could have turned massively on its head. If you see, just even the GA being lost would have been so much of a different fight, because they're not positioning around trying to get that pullback onto high BMI, low IQ. They're able to clean up with the rest of the members, as Pluko waited so long to use his ultimate. If that big ultimate had come through a little bit earlier and denied Regan his ult, then this fight could have gone entirely differently. Xayah could have picked up maybe 2 or 3 kills. All that requires is just one item in difference.
And they do have that good wombo potential, so even though they're currently down quite a large amount of gold. Yeah, Coffee.
Oh no, come on,
boys.
Man.
So you're getting excited knowing that he's going to die. I'm saying, no, he's fine.
It's just, it hurts so bad watching him. You can't keep getting away with this.
Well, right now for Kingston, it's not looking too bad. They're pretty happy with the situation. They're playing it pretty slow. Didn't try and force an end there as the Baron does spawn, but
this isn't one of the issues that we've had from Kingston for a while, and finally we're seeing somebody do something about it. We're seeing more pink wards bought than usual. We saw a couple from the mid lane, a couple from the jungler. Unfortunately, iThrow, and this is a short name, not buying enough pink wards means that they don't really have the vision control they need around the map. But if they had that vision control, it's so much easier to play around Baron. When they've got this much of a lead, it doesn't matter. But I want to see how this changes when they go up against better teams, because the lack of vision control is consistent.
Well, they're not going up against better teams right now. They're just going up against the base of the Stratford Spartans. They do find the 1 kill onto Xayah. A nice interaction going on there. It does end up knocking the nut back, and they're trying to find a little bit more. Fake quality will go down. This could be E defense mounted here by Pluko. He's trying to figure out what damage he can, but the heal comes through from the Camille. She keeps going forward, but will be taken down by the Orianna. However, meanwhile, Regan in the mid lane coming on in with the super creeps. He has the Kane as well, and it has to be a 2v5 defense. I don't know if it's enough. No, make it 3, but the disengage from iThrow there to do it all. Coffee able to find a little bit of damage onto the back and force people away. Regan with a nice knock up, and then Swain with a nice pull forward does secure 2 more kills. The Xayah next to follow to the shotgun blast of the Swain. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it. Kingston Harriers taking this series with a clean 2-0.
And that is going to put the Portsmouth Pirates through into the playoffs, barely scraping their way through, as they were knocked out by the Stratford Spartans in the final game last season. Not going to let it happen a second time around. And Kingston Harriers looking much stronger than they did before, as now in 21 minutes, I believe the fastest victory we've seen from them this split. Kingston Harriers dominate the second place team in the group.
Yeah, I wasn't here for a lot of this series, but that looked pretty good. That looked pretty clean.
Yeah, game one was even more aggressive and like even less vision control.
Oh.
They were just like walking into a jungle full of vision going, doesn't matter because we outnumber you. You can't do anything about it. And they just couldn't collapse quick enough. So,
there seemed
like I
to
said,
be like a few moments
Yeah.
where it was like, oh, someone's been caught out. Maybe they're done. You know, Reagan in the bot lane. Oh, he's in a 3v1.
Yeah.
This could be the comeback. And they're like, oh, whilst he's being caught on his own, in the other two lanes,
Yeah.
they're making catches themselves.
the team's very good at responding on the other side of the map like that, yeah. And this is why I was saying in between game 1 and 2, I really wanted to see an adaptation where you take maybe like a Galio, so you can collapse on those plays a lot quicker. You can get outnumbered situations or deny outnumbered situations much quicker on the map, and then them trying to make plays on the opposite side is a lot easier to turn around.
Yeah, I mean, if you have those sort of extra picks there, yeah, they seem to do a pretty good job of getting the plays from the other side of the map. Regardless, like, yeah, you want to try and be able to collapse, but at the same time, like, if we can't collapse right now, we'll just do something somewhere else anyway.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good series, but we're going to take a break before our second series of the night. I believe it's the Tyneside Guardians versus the Preston Invincibles, which will be the decider for that group, as well as the Guardians need to win, I believe 2-0 to get out of that group.
Okay.
As they lost to the Colchester Centurions in their first week, so stay tuned for that one.
Looking right, left, going straight. Don't know where to go, wanna hide away. I'm reflecting myself. You are no good for me. Super dangerously, am I?
of the night, evil creatures ray of light.
We will discover in the end that our worst foe lies within. Our worst foe lies within. Our worst foe lies within.
Hello. And
Hi
welcome
there.
back
We're
to
gonna be-
another Belong Arena Clash.
We're back for our final series of the regular season, and hopefully it's another close one, because we've had a few close ones this season, but last one, definitely not one of them. Dominant display from the Kingston Harriers.
Oh, yeah.
And this one is a decider yet again, as the Tyneside Guardians need to win this series to be able to make it to the playoff stage as they go up against the Preston Invincibles, who so far this split have been invincible, as they've got world champion Ruler in the bot lane. Oh my god, is that Genji Ruler? Is that him?
Can't believe they managed to get him from his contract in Optic, which was almost definitely an 8 figures number.
That's Crown, but still.
Is it?
Crown's on Optic.
That's the
Ruler's
wrong
still
one.
on Genji.
Who was Is he still on Genji? They didn't make Worlds.
Ruler just got signed for another 3-year contract on Genji.
3 years? That's
3
a long
years,
time in
yeah.
esports terms.
Like, more and more Korean players are signing players for 3 years. Keen just got signed for 3 years on a Freak of Freaks as well. So,
Who's?
Kiin.
Ah, yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
of the TFT.
Yeah.
TFT guy. Well, notorious for his Urgot mid in the old NALCS days.
But one of the things we've got to talk about here is Timeside Guardians ended up ending the last season in disappointment, being taken down by the T-side Steelers, our runner-up in the semi-final. They were notorious for playing the games much slower, and T-side really took it to them. They were much more aggressive than the two teams, and that's why they ended up winning that semi-final. On the other side, you got the Preston Invincibles, who we didn't actually see much of last season at all, and we still haven't had a chance to see them this season, so I'm very interested to see how they come through and what sort of style of play we see from them, because they are undefeated in the group thus far. What sort of level of strength has brought them here?
Right, well, I'll say I don't think I've ever. I think Preston may be a new team.
I believe they're fairly new.
I'm
Yeah.
concerned. Yeah.
This is
New to me.
This is probably the first. I think this is the first League of Legends season. I don't remember seeing them last season. Either that or one of the big things that's changed is since the spot was given to Arena Clash into Forge of Champions.
Yeah.
A lot of people are hungry.
A lot
for
of
that
people
spot.
really want to start playing.
Like Clyde Claymore's instantly brought back their champion roster, like we talked about earlier. London Lionhearts all grinded up to they replaced their entire roster. They all grinded up to high-end solo queue. T-side grinded up to high-end solo queue for themselves as well. Everybody's hungry for this opportunity. The playoffs are going to show that yet again. We're getting into pick and ban here.
Just straight through here, straight through these.
Instant Rek'Sai first
Rek'Sai.
pick. This is normally only in response. You normally only see Rek'Sai in response to a Lee Sin. It's a hard counter pick to Lee Sin.
I mean, Rek'Sai. I feel like Rek'Sai doesn't really have any bad matchups.
Yes.
Maybe like a Lee's or something.
But she's only really strong when she's in her great matchups.
Yeah.
Which are like Gragas, she's pretty good against because you if you time it right, you can cancel out his body slam, and Lee Sin because you can always cancel out his Q.
I think Gragas wins the body slam versus.
Yes, but if you time it right, then the edge of your hitbox, if you're coming
You
up
have
during it,
slightly bigger
like
hitbox?
you both stun each other at the same time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you end up just cancelling him out entirely. So he's not as good into Gragas as he is into Lee Sin.
Yeah.
But Lee Sin, he jumps in on you with a Q, you knock him up, and you full combo him, chunk his entire HP bar, and turn that matchup on its head. As they're going to ban the Gragas away.
Anyway, yeah.
But this is a very squishy setup right now. Only the Vladimir is really any sort of form of tankiness, and even then he just stacks health. As Ezreal and Vel'Koz speaks to a more poke-oriented style, whereas Preston Invincibles, they're going all in. They want all-in team fights.
Alright, so this Vel'Koz, do you reckon it's a support, or do you reckon it's in the mid lane? Because that could be a pretty disgusting lane to play versus, but a very abusable one.
I believe it's actually choosing to play it into the Vladimir right now. He wanted to, assuming Vladimir was mid lane, but then the Yasuo on the other side is an instant response to that, trying to flex Vladimir into the top lane away from it because it is very strong into both of the Yasuo is strong into the Vel'Koz is strong into the Vladimir. So they're going to try and flex the lanes around that. They might even flex it into support like you're saying. But I'll be interested to see these final two picks kind of dictate where that Vel'Koz is going to go.
They could still have another mid laner.
Like Nautilus, let's go.
Oh.
Doenby style. Let's pull out Nautilus mid.
Okay, actually, if this is Nautilus mid, I'm so happy because I had this epiphany the other day.
Yeah?
And I get really stuck on these kinds of things.
Okay.
I'm like, yes, I'm a genius. Like, I'm right. So, the pick to counter Doenby's Nautilus mid was Pyke. And the hover before it was Nocturne, and some people were saying, actually, Nocturne could do well. You could, you
get the
can
spell
clear
shield,
waves well enough, you're safe enough in the lane, and you can match his roams. I thought, Echo. Would that be a sick counter to Nautilus mid? And then you take either Klepto or Conqueror, because obviously Electrocute's useless in that matchup. I was like, what? Am I a genius? Like, cheap shot Echo just to keep clearing the waves with him? You're completely safe from his ult. His all-in is, as long as you don't try fight him, he can't fight you. And you can basically match the wave clear to try and get to his roams.
Okay, I want to get back to the game very quickly, but I believe the reason that doesn't work is because it wasn't so much the Nautilus that was the problem, it was the Elise and the Thresh.
It was the whole series that was kind of the problem.
Not even just that, but it was the duoing in CC with the support and the jungler paired with the Nautilus.
Yeah.
Even if Nautilus couldn't land his hook on, say, an Orianna that could push him out very efficiently, or a Syndra that was shoving him in consistently, it wasn't his hook that was the threat, it was the support setting up his hook.
That's where the Echo ult comes in.
But the thing is, they're doing it pre-6. They're doing it pre-6, so I can understand your thought process.
And then you blame
but I
your
don't think
jungler.
it works. But I want to look at this draft because they're buying into the Vel'Koz versus the Yasuo. They're buying into that matchup, which is generally a Yasuo favorite, but Vel'Koz can still just try and focus on shoving the minions that are close to him and zone Yasuo away by playing around the wind wall with his Q. and still have some threat on him. But the Ezreal bot lane, Ezreal Nautilus, not really the most synergistic bot lane. They are against the Vayne, so very short range Vayne. You can try and punish it with a Nautilus. You can ult it very efficiently to just shut her down on any aggression. But the Ezreal wants to sit back and scale. The Nautilus wants to go forward. So what they are looking to do, what that means is Ezreal needs to get to a point where he can 1v2 that lane and just survive, not be dove by Leona Vayne. And Nautilus needs to roam mid. So he needs to get towards the Moby Boots and hard roam towards mid, shut down that mid lane, and set up the Vel'Koz, because that's enough CC to deny a Yasuo really quickly.
Yeah, the hard part is going to be actually getting that wave pushed out, right?
Yeah.
Because you have an Ezreal. It's not like something like a Xayah that's actually going to be able to match that kind of clear. So, I mean, what can you do? You can get the Leona W as a bit of pushback, maybe. But if you are able to, with your Titan's Wrath, with your Riptides and whatnot, push that wave out, then yes, you can look for those kinds of Nautilus plays. But right now, the play is actually just a 5-stack top. So,
fun fact: what is the most low ego champion in the game, self-conscious champion in the game? It's Sion. It's Sion. They just picked the most like this shows nerves really from the top laner, because he picked it into the Vladimir, knowing the Vladimir was there. He was either going to play into Vladimir or Yasuo, and he goes, yeah, I'll just play Sion, knowing that he's going to have no lane the entirety of the game. Oh,
level 1 pool. You hate to see it.
Starting pool at level 1 is going to hurt him, but if that Q landed, that would have hurt
even more. If they'd angled that
Q,
Q, that would have been dangerous.
That would have been juicy, yeah. But doesn't quite land. I do like the start. This is what we're seeing more and more from AP champions. Doran's Ring start, because you get the extra...
it's so efficient on Vlad.
Yeah.
Even though you're wasting the mana, it's giving you health and AP. And because you're Vlad, that means you're also getting AP and health.
And an extra potion.
Uh-huh.
And also, on top of that, you're getting the extra damage on auto attacks to minions, making it much easier to CS. So he's going to be able to shove in that Sion pretty quickly. And the other thing about this is, going pool at level 1 doesn't really hurt that much when you're against the Sion, but he's being forced to lane against the Vel'Koz.
Oh, maybe. Actually, that makes the Kleptomancy a much more dangerous rune as well. You're not proccing it for free, and now you're just losing trade. So I like this. I like this play a lot. Also, Sion has a bit of a better time versus Windwall.
This is going to be
pretty easy to cancel his Qs.
I hope this would be the case, and they would switch around the Vel'Koz around where the Vladimir is. But unfortunately for them, it means that the Vel'Koz is going to be much more exposed in the top side of the map. So I need to see a name I can't pronounce on the Echo go up to the top side and try and punish him out as quickly as possible.
Alright, well, something interesting about the Echo, actually, is his choice of the Electrocute. I've been playing a fair bit of Echo jungle. A lot of people like to go for the Dark Harvest. Personally, I really like Conqueror.
See, I'm a weirdo. I like going fleet footwork.
Oh, why would you go fleet on Echo?
Because it's just so easy to stick to people when
you already have 2 slows, a stun, and a self-speed.
You go over the top on it. You overload yourself on movement speed, and you get extra health in the jungle.
Now, you want to know what can stick to people, right?
What?
This is my secret tech for anyone who's trying to rush the end of the split.
Okay.
Glacial Augment Udyr.
Oh god, no, get out, please.
I tell you now, I've got something like a 70% win rate on this. Like,
have you seen Kerberos in Korea right now?
What's he been doing?
Shyvana with Ignite.
Ignite, TP Ignite? Or
TP Ignite Shyvana top lane. He's been spamming it, has like a 70% win rate right now.
Oh, of course, Kerr's been spamming something.
And now he's spamming Tryndamere top as well. He's absolute nutter.
Alright, well, a bit early on the gank there from the Echo and a bit far forward of the positioning with the old W there, but also to note, the Yasuo did go for Conqueror here.
Yeah.
Something like versus something like the Vel'Koz, maybe you want Fleet for a bit of extra sustain. The short trades, maybe you want Halo Blades for the order.
Exactly.
But Conqueror versus Sion, probably your best bet.
Yeah, Conqueror versus Sion is definitely a good adaptation, and you assume because he sees both a Nautilus, a Rek'Sai, and a Sion that he's going to have these longer fights in the mid-game, so even if he's not picking it for lane, it works better later on. But this is what we talked about. The Vel'Koz much more exposed in the top side of the map, so he is way more open to be ganked by this Echo, and is forced to blow that flash already.
Yeah, and that is a dangerous predicament to be in if you are the Vel'Koz there, because now Echo's just going to walk straight on back into your lane. However, there is no CC on the Vladimir side there, except for a flash pool, I suppose. So
flash pool, like the 5%
I've seen some ganks
slow.
set up in my time. Boy, that sure isn't one, but...
it's like saying, yeah, don't worry, if I don't have any CC on my Rangar, I'll just flash Duskblade them for the slow.
I mean, true. You would slow them. I mean, Rengar, you'd probably just hit the bowler would be
Yeah,
my,
but
my preferred ability.
You missed both the bowlers. You missed both the bowlers. You flash auto for the Duskblade as Joex is going to have to outplay in this mid lane. He's gone 1v2.
He's not where he wants to be. Might look for the wind wall over the wall. No, instead just a normal ward. Will get out and now starts to take a bit of damage, but does have the passage. But oh, what? Dashes on back. The flash forward from the Rek'Sai, not quite enough. Now the flash to the slow, which was not successfully windwalled. And so Aphelion will secure that first kill.
That was the most scuffed Yasuo outplay I've ever seen.
That was something. To be fair, if he was like slightly faster with that tornado, I think he actually might have got out again. Slightly
if he didn't have to blow his flash and played his E correctly, he also wouldn't have.
I mean, also true,
but that's the play that
fine.
you see. You see every Yasuo try and do that in the highlight reel. He saw his moment for the highlight reel play.
Sometimes you just have those sort of boomer APM moments, and you kind of just have to accept it, you know?
Oh god, I feel that with TFT boomer APM.
Oh, do I have the biggest boomer APM with TFT? I've been trying to get back into it, the new set, because there's been a couple of tournaments and stuff. And I was like, I'll play this, mess around, including but not limited to Belong Rivals, which I've been considering signing up
the Belong
for.
Rivals 1v1 TFT tournament that's coming soon.
I've been tempted to sign up for I saw it and I was like, I should get into that.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to get back into the TFT. I don't understand the new set, and I can't roll fast enough. Things used to be different, and I don't like change. It's dangerous times. But meanwhile, Echo not ganking in the bot lane. He's looking at it, looking like he might.
He just takes a glance at bot lane, goes, nah, it's warded, and he's going to back off because his bot lane is basing.
I mean, how do you gank Echo Nautilus when they both have a way to buffer?
Yeah, Ezreal Nor,
look at those
pretty hard.
Kleptoprocs.
But like, yeah, this Scion here in the mid lane, I like it what he's gone for. He's gone for the Bramble Vest to deal with this healing from the... Because this is what you do in the early game. You build just a Bramble Vest, and then you go your normal items from there. What you do on mid lane Scion is you go Sterix next.
Okay, here's how it goes, though. Bramble Vest.
Yeah?
This is brilliant, because they're also on the left and on the right, so it lines up with the meme. Bramble Vest Scion. Insecure player, has no regard for dealing damage, doesn't care about winning trades, well, kind of you do, just wants to sit back and be passive, compared to the Chad for Doran's Vein, that only wants to win trade, do damage, lifesteal a lot. See, if this was a 4 Doran Scion, he'd be 1v2ing this right now.
Okay, so have you actually seen the Doran stacking thing now? In
No!
In Korea, this is huge. You do it on MF, you stack as many Dorans
On
as
MF,
possible.
maybe! On Vein?
On Bane, like, think about the lifesteal you get from this, because none of it is unique. Think about the amount of
Oh,
stats
cool, the
you get from
lifesteal that
this.
you're getting on your silver bolts, and the attack speed that you don't have in order to proc... Interesting to hear.
Will it work?
Well, here's time for the 1v4 outplay. Vayne forced to flash on over the wall. Admittedly, no amount of Doran's rings might save you there. However, Aphelion now coming into the middle lane with the Scion. Gonna try and land the double knock-up and will find just the one. But the hook through onto the Yasuo does mean he will fall down, but
the
not
Triumph
without
proc.
taking down the Echo first. Never mind, he's somehow still alive. Echo's gone down. He's trying to find an extra kill, but will not find it. And a double kill over to the Ezreal, conveniently in place for the Mountain Dragon.
Really unfortunate there because you saw the TP available from the Vel'Koz, chose not to come in. He did have level 6 as well, so maybe could have set up a play there on the bottom side of the map, but unfortunately isn't able to help, and it means they're going to lose the Dragon off the back of this. Maybe going to lose a third kill as well as they force the flash from the Leona.
Yeah, I'm not 100% certain what the intention was there from the Leona, just to maybe scout out a little bit of vision, because now the teleport has come through from the Vladimir. Now, Vlad is a pretty bonkers champion. He's known for his 1v5s, maybe not at 7 minutes, but he's coming on in with his level 6. So as you see, he's trying to find that ultimately lands it onto just one member, but they still managed to take down the Nautilus. Now Scion will be the focus. The Dragon even still standing. Cannot really say the same for the Vayne. Actually, no, never mind, we can, as enough peel is there to keep her alive. Now the Scion has fallen down, the Vel'Koz has roamed on down. Yasuo has a knock-up connected, does not have ultimate available. He's still going to go on in, looking for the Vel'Koz. Knock-up does not land, and the Ezreal is recalling as Vel'Koz now tries to cut his way out through. This one does not have the life form disintegration ray available, and so will not be able to find anything further. But a lovely turnaround for the Preston Invincibles.
Yeah, the Leona buys just enough time for the Vladimir to get into the fight, and the Vladimir now he's started to get these this CDR on himself, is able to get a lot of damage down in these extended fights. He does just that, is now 1-0-2, looking fairly comfortable for himself against the Vel'Koz. Even if he is losing in CS right now, we know he generally wins out in the long run because he's able to dodge a lot of Vel'Koz's damage and still continue to play aggressive, because you assume he's going to go for the Proto Belt to close the gap. He's going to go for like a Zhonya's as well for the team fight pressure, and he's going to be near unstoppable once he gets to that phase. So I'm expecting Birkenhead to show up in that mid game very strong once you start to see that 1-2 item spike.
Yeah, and just to take a second to go ahead and apologise for the little stuttering you might be seeing here, a bit of audio visual quality bugs going on here. Not a lot we can do about it, unfortunately. We're just sort of
we're working on it right now.
Yeah, we're working on it. Right now, we've sort of just got to take it. Much as the Tyneside Guardians might be about to take this bot lane tower plate. Actually, okay, never mind. They're actually going to be taking mid lane kills. Joex is apparently going down, and now the re-engage has come on through in the bottom lane. Leona trying to find what she can. Interesting hook angle. I actually kind of dig it coming out from Ichari. He's trying to get away from this one, but the condemn is available, will not be needed, as the Shield of Daybreak will take him down.
That's the power of the 4 Doran's Blades coming through right there.
Look at the damage.
For the Vayne, as she now goes to 2-0-2, and this is actually what we see consistently from the Doran's Blade stacking AD carries. They start to fall down in the first few levels, but once they get to that 4 Doran's
fall
mark,
down in
they
the early
pop
levels. Fall down in the early levels, so it's not an early game build. But see, an inspired Ezreal. He's now managed to acquire himself just the one that Doran's played. As a gank comes through on top lane, and not a lot you can do as the Vel'Koz there.
But the reason you fall down in the early levels is you don't do it on strictly early game champions. The Misfortune is the exception.
Clearly not.
But the Vayne, not an early game champion, a champion that struggles a bit to deal with some other champions in the early game. You look at Ezreal and you think, yeah, he can keep Vayne at bay, he can survive that. But because of this Doran's Blade stacking, the damage and all these stats, just stat checking him far too much.
Well, I've got to say, if anyone's willing to try this, I'm still not 100% sold. So please wait.
Just do it on Misfortune, please.
Wait until the 20th,
I believe
so that you will not be ruining my end of season rank.
Check Prosper's Twitter. I believe he was talking about it earlier today.
Tearing it up.
He's been in Korean solo queue. I believe he's been talking about this.
It's like, see his DM. It's like Korean. No, sorry.
You're from Hanwha Life. Yeah.
Team manager in Korea. DM
yeah, the Hanwha Life manager DM'd him asking him if he was Korean.
Hang about. That's the wrong kind of sword coming out here from the Vayne. That's silly Vayne. That's a long sword, not a Doran sword. But there was a beautiful moment earlier where, again, we had the sort of insecure Chad matchup here. It was like insecure Ezreal building 500 mana. Chad Vayne with the 4 Doran.
Who needs mana when you press R and get 20 more AD? Let's
It was
go.
like watching Fnatic versus FunPlus Game 1 in the quarterfinals of Worlds.
Hey, but
like,
Fnatic won more games versus FunPlus than G2 did.
I mean, true. I was like, is this the Ryan Choi throwback Rengar top with 4 Doran's Blades? Was it Season 3 again? Oh,
that was triple
days.
Q Rengar, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the good old days when you could just bam on someone. But
you literally one-shot somebody at level 2.
I miss Red Pot Udyr top.
Oh god, please don't bring me back to those days. No. I'm a jungler. I like actually being able to farm the jungle and not having to rely on the bot lane to take my camp for me, otherwise I'm gonna die.
Oh no.
That was the thing though, back in the day it was like, you take a Mumu, you go Q at level 1.
If you've taken a Mumu, you've already gone
back
wrong.
when a Mumu was meta, you go... This is like Season 2.
You know what? Interesting interactions here, but the Rek'Sai is moving on down. That is a very, very low Vayne. She will drop to the Ignite of Nautilus. They're going to try to 1 kill back on over to that, but now Asan has come on through, so still quite a few members here alive. 1 kill found over, and the ultimate to keep the Echo alive. He's now trying to see what he can do on to the Rek'Sai. Going to go ahead and run away, and now the Yasuo not going to be able to roam quite as quickly as a Sion, but he's still going to give it his best try, damn it, as he is spotted out by the Tremor Sense. A nice zoning knock-up from the Sion, going to make everyone run away. But actually, they're running away from the Vel'Koz. He comes on through with the Life on Disintegration Ray, a dash on forward, and ultimate through from the Rek'Sai. They're going to try and find some more. The kill is found out over onto the Ezreal, but at what cost? The cost will in fact be Joex's life, as he drops basically everyone involved in that fight, except for Birkenhead.
This is the Preston Invincibles really struggling to deal with the Tyneside Guardians as the TP gets cancelled because he's standing on top of a pink wall.
Oh,
okay.
No. You must think it's like, surely the Vayne's not going to condemn me here. Like someone's going to.
Yeah, a bit yikes. But we're going to see Joex, surprisingly, I got to say, go for the Static Shiv over the Phantom Dancer. When you got this comp that has very little tankiness and you are playing so hyper aggressive at all times, go for the Phantom Dancer.
You are lacking in wave clear though. You have the Echo Q, sure, but just having that little bit extra something is going to be nice.
I think that the wave clear isn't the problem when they're just fighting everywhere on the map right now. Like they're not just playing around waves. They're not playing smart in terms of wave pressure is dictating where the fights are
It's not even
happening.
about pressure. It's just like, oh, you've got a big wave crashing in here. We want to clear it ASAP.
But they don't. They're just going for a fight regardless of where the
But
waves
then you
are.
do more damage to more people. It does increase your burst. It does give you AoE. Also, Akari's dead.
Yeah,
you
see,
gotta be
like,
careful when you're going for those.
During
force
that fight, 2 of their members were in base, and the Vayne was just coming from base. But they went for the fight anyway with just 2 members on the map,
Do
not
you
knowing
know
where
what
any of the
Vayne
enemy team were.
was coming from base with? Lifesteal.
Lifesteal, let's go. She's stacking that AD. She's getting that.
But at least it's a bramble vest on the sides. Like,
Oh god, it's the hard counter.
You've been outplayed.
You've been outplayed, but the
should have done the better scouting.
the Dade Award Echo that we talked about earlier, the Echo that let everybody down at Worlds, has been showing up pretty decently today. It was good in the last series, and it's good again here. 5-2-1, very strong early game.
Okay, but unpronounceable name was not the Echo letting people down at Worlds. I think that was.
But the Echo pick is the letdown at Worlds. The Echo pick was the
I
Dade
don't know
Awards.
what went so wrong with it.
It was because people didn't understand how to play around it. They were trying to use it as a pseudo Elise, and it's just worse than Elise in every way at what Elise does,
kind of.
other than the fact that it scales better than Elise.
God, but it's fun though, and isn't that
Oh,
what
it's
really
so fun.
matters at the end of the day?
As 2 junglers sitting here, I know we normally have 2 junglers with me and Stan, but as a different set of 2 junglers sitting here, we can tell you that Echo Jungle is very fun.
You know what isn't fun?
Just dying.
Yeah, getting 3-man. Not sure if the pool was available. Oh, we waste the ultimate as well. Had the pool, had the flash. Not sure what could have gone differently there. Meanwhile, yeah, Sion is interactive champion to.
Oh god, he just killed himself.
I just love that so much of that was just like doing some big anime moment.
He's just spamming all his buttons.
Dash, slash, stab, dash. Oh, yeah. And then it's just like, sounds like, Mikyu, one trade.
I stand still, you hit yourself.
It's just like to be honest, actually, I'm going to sound a hard time, but nothing butters my biscuit more than teammates that build defensively in my games. Like, for example, had I been you know, on the blue side of my last match, and that was a Hex Drinker Zaya, I would have been a happy man.
But do you know what the kind of person I am, though? I'm the kind of person that likes playing Zac jungle. Because I just love being the bully that just annoys the enemy AD carry.
Old Zac.
Oh, I miss Kidnap Zac.
Okay, I miss original Zac.
With the old Q that was just Stretch Armstrong.
No. Okay, in a perfect world, you
Yep.
make current Zac, but you put it in Season 6. Because I don't like the new Zac ult, or the new old Zac with the ult, because magic pen runes aren't a thing. Because in like Season 6, you do Cinderhulk, Spirit Visage, CDR Boots, Old Guardian Angel. It's like, cool, I'm literally immortal. You're still decimating their backline because you have magic pen runes.
Yeah.
And then if you really need it, you can even go for Sork Shoes, and you can actually 1v3. Because you can't do that anymore, I don't like the middle ult was so much more interactive. Speaking of interaction, Nautilus ult comes out onto the Vayne, but it's not quite enough. Hey! But the audio-visual Esmond thinks, look, as this fight is brought to you in clean 1080p or whatever video setting you may be watching on at
probably.
home. Is it 360? Maybe. Are you watching it on your phone on the train? You still know that Vayne is dead. The Rek'Sai soon to follow, but does manage to take out 2 kills, so we kind of take those, you know.
So
at the end of the day, still a 3-for-2 in favor of Preston.
So to save time this game, we're going to call Vayne by her weeb name.
I can do this. Utsukushi Fuyu.
Utsukushi for you.
I've been watching anime.
But we're just going to call a weeb name.
Weeb and
because it makes it
unpronounceable.
easier. Weeb and unpronounceable in the same
Okay,
team.
got it.
Birkenhead Joe X, Weeb unpronounceable, and
So
Alpha
bad.
Chinchilla.
Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2. Real good.
Okay.
I finished it like last night. Real good times.
I'm so tempted to just say a spoiler from the manga.
I am familiar with one spoiler courtesy of Offline TV.
Yeah, you know the one.
Who only what, like literally it was the first frame of the video. If anyone doesn't know, they did like a spoiler prank. I was under the impression it would be bleeped. It was not.
By the way, that was the only spoiler in the trailer that wasn't real.
Really?
Yeah, everything
the
else
rest
they
of
said
the
was
video
real.
is spoiled?
Everything else they said was real. That was the only bit that wasn't.
I had to DM my friend. I was like, "Can you watch this? I know you're up with the manga. Can you check?" Also, Vlad's doing 1v4 things. Never mind. No, he's not. But he's
Tyneside,
almost there. He's got his 40% CDR. He's got 2 items. Now you just need a death cap, and you actually can do 1v4 things.
This game is still so close back
I honestly
and forth.
have no idea what's going on.
Even though the Yasuo's starting to fall behind, you can see
Fall behind. That's a polite way of putting it.
you can see that the Vayne's becoming so strong. The Echo's still so good, and Vladimir we know scales so well. So this team, if the game continues to go late, has the ability to play very well. But you look at the other side, and
You see a near finished Randuin's on the side of the Scion.
you're seeing a Scion and an
Look at
Echo.
that Q damage, man.
You're seeing a Scion and an Echo who both get insane in the late game. And you got to think, one team's insanely interactive in the late game. The other team is just going to try and beef tank it through.
But genuinely, the second that Randuin's is finished, you put the Scion and the Yasuo in side lanes. I'm not joking when I say that if the Yasuo auto Scion 10 times, the 2 Shiv proxies getting out of that are doing by far and away the most damage. Like, it's not even comparable. This is a great build to have if you're a Scion. Luckily, it's a Vayne, right? So she will be able to hit through it.
The issue is for Joex right now is he has 0 AD other than these Doran's blades. So there's no point in building Armor Pen yet. You need to get that AD first. It's actually worth building Armor Pen.
Rek'Sai might look for the steal here and is not able to find it. Was not the true damage on the bite. Now trying to run away would not be enough, but the Scion knock up over the wall. If Ezreal wants to jump on in, no, he wants to jump sideways. A significantly smarter move. As he still gets the damage out and is able to find the Leona. Now Echo going in for the face check here. Achari landing the hook onto Jux will be able to find the depth charge and throws it out.
Oh, 2-man!
It's a lovely 2-man knock up with the wind wall, and the Chrono Shift should be enough to save a little bit of time. Jux actually somehow still alive, somehow living, looking to go over the wall. Actually, no, it was the Ezreal who goes on into the pit and now is stuck in a bit of a 1v3 situation. He needs one more Q and it's not quite enough, so the shutdown is secured by the Vlad. Now a teleport. Where's he getting this health from? It's the Scion chugs a corrupting pot and Skadoodles his way out of there.
The Scion
What's his health ticking so
is
much?
so insanely tanky.
He get a red
right
buff
now.
in that fight?
He had a red buff before the fight.
Okay. Ooh.
But, like, yeah, he's so insanely tanky right now, and now he's got this Randuin's Omen. You know what he's building into next? A Frozen Heart.
I was gonna say, look, you're blocking you're doing fine versus the Yasuo
He
at this
doesn't need
point.
damage, just build a Frozen
So
Heart.
now you need Frozen Heart for the
Yeah.
Vayne. Surely, and also Frozen Heart, and Randuin's really good versus Echo, because he does like to get the autos out quite a lot. Have we considered at any point, gents, maybe swapping the Vladimir to be the one versus the Scion?
Yeah.
I feel like now, you know, it's a controversial statement, but hear me out. Maybe.
But the thing is, if Tyneside played it correctly, at that point what they should do is just sit the Scion mid lane.
I mean, he does have the nice wave clip, and also the ability that he can literally just face tank 5 people and kind of be cool with it.
Yeah, like he just cannot be engaged on, and you look at the
That's
Yasuo
a
in the
man
mid lane.
who can well be engaged on.
Exactly, the Yasuo can consistently be engaged on. So this is the correct play now. You sit the Scion in the mid lane. He's untouchable. And then the Vladimir is still roaming around because he wants to be in the side lane. He wants to pick up the solo farm. He's forced to lane against either an Ezreal or a Vel'Koz. And that's not really where he wants to be because he's kept at arm's length and isn't really able to engage.
What is Ezreal building?
He's building I believe, the Rune King.
No.
Oh, no, sorry, that's a blasting one.
Yeah.
Whoa. He's building a... Huh, what would he be building there
Void
with a
Staff?
blasting one? Void Staff is a bad idea. So he could be building...
The Leandries?
Yeah, he could be building Leandries, he could be building Morellos.
No,
Morellos to deal with the...
You're thinking... The Morellos was my second guess.
Morellos to deal with the Vladimir is an option, but then you just build Execution
like
calling
Execution
instead, because
is
it's so much better for
better.
him.
I think it has to be Ludens. Not Ludens, the Leandries.
It is a component of Ludens, so it could
Is
just
it?
be that, yeah.
For Luden. Oh yeah,
Ludens-
Ludens is
Ludens
chapter
is
and the Blast.
chapter,
It has to be
yes,
Ludens
it has to be
then.
Ludens then.
Okay.
So it's Lost Chapter plus that. It's just so weird to see for him go for that first.
I guess
'Cause
he
normally,
just had 850.
yeah, normally you go for the, even if you got 850, you go for the mana plus the AP, because the mana scales so well with your Muramana that's already completed. And the AP obviously...
Scales with your AP.
Yeah, the AP is obviously
The ability
good.
power enhances your power of your abilities.
The AP is good, but it doesn't outweigh the fact that you're actually getting more AD if you just build mana right now, so you just get the more AD, because AD is more important to you at this very moment.
Well, unfortunately, if we're looking at ADC builds, it is a sad day. Ryan Choi, down here in the bottom lane,
Gwynsu's fate!
has unfortunately parted ways with his Dawn's Blades.
He's still got
He's
one.
still got one.
It's just the remnant, it's the last
The
one.
last of the massacre, the sole survivor.
It's the last one that's yet to leave home
So
for college.
if he's weeb name, that okay, that Doran's Blade is like the one character in the village. And it was like, you killed my family, now it's my time. Like, I'll go train and become the best.
That Doran's Blade is going to make the difference in this fight here, hopefully.
It actually might. He's taking a fair bit of damage. Will be hit out by the rest. He's on such a little amount of health, but the smite coming through us. If he lived on that health, it would
Exactly 60 health.
Exactly 60 health.
Exactly 60 health would have been
crazy.
amazing. But not quite, as unfortunately he does go down, and that gives him a lot of control over this Baron area. Now the Echo is still alive, and he's still got his he's not got his ultimate or flash, so he has to find a way to dash into the pit without being picked off. But they have to rush the Baron here. They have to force this fight with a number advantage
here. But Birkenhead does have flash available, does
Nice
have
turn.
pull, but is forced to blow something early. He has the ult. Will he find the play in time? No, he won't.
This is what they wanted, though.
But
They just wanted the turn because they had Sion sitting in that brush waiting for somebody to approach, and then they were going to collapse on them. The health's low, and they don't want the Echo to come and collapse on them, so they have to reset. They're losing prio of mid.
Yeah, so they actually, we might see a bit of a TP play here coming. Vayne
Oh, are they
gonna
trying to
go
rush it
ahead.
with the Gwynsues?
Teleport on in. Gwynsues, mate, it's the Doran's Blade that's going to be doing the work here. They are spotted out on walls, but everyone from Tyneside has just reset. They start turning into it. They've got 2 mountains. This is a very quick Dragon, Baron, thing, whatever. The Ezreal teleporting into the mid lane. It's not very close. We'll have to see, is the ultimate going to find it? 300 health, and it is Windwalled away.
They staggered their recalls far too much. They weren't committal to the reset, and unfortunately, they get caught snapping as they lose the Baron after really positive play just prior. They have to trade it for their Infernal.
You get the Infernal, but you're not cool with that. Like, you want the Baron's a much better part of the trade.
Yeah, what they needed to do at that point was like either stagger the recalls and have one person stay on Baron to clear vision,
And now
or
like a really big drop.
instantly recall to get back on the map before they can rush Baron. They delayed it far too much. They were too hesitant, and so they got punished by the Preston
And now
Invincibles,
Preston-
who are now death brushing because they don't know what to do with this lead.
I mean, yeah, what can you do? Because Preston have now reset, and he has the ultimate, but actually not going to be able to try. Not going to be able to use it at all.
We talked about this a lot with Stan last week. Is death brushes are only done because teams do not know how to further their lead and do not know how to extend it, so they're just going to hope somebody walks into them and dies.
I mean, it worked in this case. It might work another time here. Vayne trying to dash on out. You're not going to be able to get away from the Rek'Sai ult in the end, but now it's the big Vladimir play. He's coming on forward, lands the ultimate, but there's just so much chain CC. He's not able to get the pull through either.
The Death Brush works out for them because the lack of warding of Preston Invincibles and fortunately weren't able to get control of the map and were instantly trying to push.
All their
back.
vision is on top side.
Yeah, exactly. They were trying to push in to the enemy jungle. Why was Echo taking the wolves in the enemy jungle immediately after losing straight in so far into enemy territory after losing that Baron? You can't push into your jungle. You have to concede that part of the map and focus on the wave pressure. And so they lose the inhibitor off of their over-exuberance.
You have to be just a little bit careful there. You have to remember, not as many wards in the game as there used to be. And something real nice for the comp for a team side here is they have a lot of knockups, which is something you can't itemize tenacity against. Because like Birkenhead, maybe if any other comp you think, oh, you go Mercs and you're good, or you go Sorkshoot and you're good, you definitely don't go. You definitely don't go Lucidity Boots because you're running so much CDR. You take Sorcery because you're running Phase Rush. I mean, he is running Klepto, so you kind of don't. But at the same time, you probably still take Transcendence, and then you obviously have 10% in runes. You're kind of good. So if he went Sorks, maybe he has the damage to get through these fights. If he has Mercs, maybe he lives through Nautilus Hook long enough that he can try and get something. I think if he just had something a little bit more defensive, which the health from the Randuins from the Rabadons will be. But right now, he has just never been able to get those big 1v4 plays he's looking for.
So generally what you like to see from a Vladimir is they go just Spellbinders into Deathcap if they're trying to purely play for team fights. Because he's been playing so much more for lane, because he's trying to get that play for Klepto,
CDR,
he wants the CDR, he wants to play for individual 1v1 plays rather than pure team fight DPS. So the fact that he's taken this long to get to the Deathcap means he's a lot less of a power spike than we normally see from Vladimir.
Well, this is these are your two options, aren't they? You go, as you said, you either go for the CDR and you go Kindle Gem, Fiendish Codex into this build in the order that it has been purchased,
or just straight up Spellbinder.
Or you just go Spellbinder Deathcap,
yeah.
Which is an interesting amount of damage.
It's the strongest two-item spike there is for any AP champion in the game.
But you do have to be careful, especially if you're going Klepto, because you do lose a bit of the mobility by not having the Proto Belt and not having the Phase Rush as well. You do get the move speed when you activate it, but it's not quite the same.
But I can definitely tell you this is an Evelyn main that like Spellbinder Deathcap is just the
it's
the #1 setup to just solo kill people.
I refuse to build it. When I play
Spellbinder?
Yeah. I just don't like it. It's not satisfying to activate.
I mean,
I
it's
don't like it.
It's just because it's got so much damn AP. It's now that Rylai's has got like 90 AP.
I build Rylai's every. I realized that like 3 days ago. I'm like, okay, Rylai's on every champion.
Yeah, like people.
I started
people
building
really
it on
underrate
Rise, and I found out. I was like, oh.
And it's the only sad thing now is it was so good and it had to be nerfed because Victor built it every game.
Yeah, and now he gets it anyway.
And now he gets it anyway for free.
Oh lord, but
well, for 1k gold.
it's close enough.
But one thing I've actually wanted to talk about, and something that I know is going to make you very happy here, is Baby Gordon. Look at his item build, because he knows he's got a Nautilus and a Scion. He gets to go full AD Rek'Sai. He's got that Sterix gauge. He's got the Black Cleaver, and he's got that Warriors
full
Enchant
AD,
as well.
there's no Infinity Edge.
There's no Infinity Edge yet. We've not got the full self-made.
I tried crit Rek'Sai. I was so ahead. I was like, okay, I have to give this a go. It's so ridiculous. I was so ahead. I was like, I gotta try this. Like, I've heard things. I just watched a meme montage because I had to like to really talk myself into it. I was like, I was like doing my friend. I was like, I want to try it, but like I don't want to lose all my LP. And I was over the course of like 3 games. I picked myself into it. I threw that game so hard. It's not good. You think, because I'm playing a lot of Shaco. I was like, okay, Hail of Blades with crit is broken. And it's kind of not.
See, if I get that far ahead, I meme on everybody can just go Titanic Triforce.
Titanic Hydra Rest. Actually, that sounds nice. Well, I don't build Tiamat anyway. But
yeah, but you go Titanic plus
anyway.
Titanic Triforce on Rek'Sai. So you don't even got mana, but you go in Triforce. It's great. It's so much fun.
Triforce Rengar.
Well, yeah, you do
really
it. You do Titanic Triforce Rengar, Titanic Triforce Sterix on Jarvan. You do it on every AD champion.
Oh no, I actually used to have the secret Jarvan build, which involved apparently a Leona engage. This is a Infernal Dragon.
Oh, instantly
There's
gone.
just so much burst coming through here. A lot going out here. The Wind Wall not
Vayne,
going to accomplish
no!
too much. Another Doran's Blade maybe would have been enough health there. There's now a nice 3-man knockup from the side. Who is? I'd say he's completely untouched.
Die.
But he's been slapped by 5 people and he's still chilling on half health. The Echo trying to do what he can here is the 1 AP threat, and we actually see finally someone dishing out a bit of the deeps as a triple kill secured for the Echo. Now Berkner trying to kite this one out, get some Klepto procs at the end, and actually Preston come out on top.
And the only person who's able to deal damage to Scion right now is this Echo, pretty much, because Vladimir's trying, but he's getting kited back by him, he's getting knocked up by him and has to play in the melee range. The in-and-out play of the Echo is allowing him to chunk through this Scion's HP, and now he's had to build Adaptive Helm to help survive it.
As you say that he finishes that, I think that actually could be the final nail in the coffin for Preston. This is not a Scion that's going to go down quietly right now.
But the thing is, like, you got to do the Uzi thing where you just kill everybody but him, and then he's standing there
And then
1v5 and you just ignore
doomed.
him. You just ignore
You
him.
literally just walk past him.
Yeah, because he's so slow. What's he gonna do? Just stand still and queue you?
I mean, true. You got me there. He's running out of options in that regard. But
Yeah, like this is the thing when you're playing tanks. You either need to have enough CC to the point where your team instantly bursts someone, or you need to survive long enough and have damage. Like you're a Mundo, for example. He has the damage to clean up the end of those fights. Scion doesn't. The only reason he'd have the damage to clean up the fights is if he goes into his passive. At that point, he's already dead.
I mean, it might be a sort of I'm taking you down with me situation.
Oh god, there goes Echo. That's the Baron.
That's not really the position you want to be dying in.
That's the Baron. He had Zonya's and ult available.
He just got 5-man during the hook duration. It's not a window he could have used it.
That's
But
like
I
a vision.
trust in the Solar Flare Steel. Because now you do see everyone else is coming on through. Vayne is slowly but surely
True
getting some
damage.
out
Let's
onto
go.
that. It's taking him something about giants, wake up, whatever. Double kill for Vlad, actually. And he just heal up a little bit. Damage now press through onto the back side of the team. But it's taken down by the Ezreal. Scion, meanwhile, cannot tank the Vayne for that long. He needs the team to be zoning her away, and she's going to try and look forward for a little bit more. Does not have the flash available, however. And now they will use the Wind Wall to go for this Baron. They do have the 2 mountains. They have the 2 Infernals. And now they seem to have the damage as well. Vel'Koz moving up on the back does not have access to his ultimate ability. And it's just poke, 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 but they can't get anywhere near close enough to land it. And the red team has slain Baron Nashor.
And just as it seemed like they didn't have enough tankiness to take the Baron, the Wind Wall does so much work in denying Baron all of its DPS. The Vayne's true damage on top of that Gwynsu's Rage Blade, allowing her to tear through it with double Mountain, double Inferno, means that Preston Invincibles, they get the Baron. Just as we said, maybe the final nail in the coffin was coming through. They find another fight, and you start to see the ability to shred through Scion is arriving. The late game Vayne, the Vladimir and the Echo are both hitting their death caps. It's the Scion starting to become irrelevant, and like we were saying before, unless you've got enough damage on your team to instantly burst somebody when your CC lands, then you become irrelevant as the fight goes on. That's the issue that
Yeah.
Sion's having right now. He's not ulting into 3 people and finding a big knock-up. He's just there dying.
So this has been a bit of a switcheroo from when I said it was the final nail in the coffin for Tyneside, because that is kind of the exact fight that you need for Preston. That was the perfect fight, and they didn't even have their jungler. That's the kind of one where you win it, you take the Baron, you type jungle difference and all chat a little bit, you know? Because they had exactly what they need. That's how they win fights. You have Vlad on the backline,
At
just
this
complete full access, and then you have Vayne just being peeled.
Oh god,
once she
he's
hits
dead.
onto Vlad. Meanwhile, Yasuo spotting apparently, but keep your eyes on Rek'Sai and Vel'Koz. They're the ones that need to be putting out the damage onto the Vayne, and they are just not able to in the slightest. Now Vayne has taken down the Sion, and that means the fight has just been dismantled for Tyneside. They're trying to kite out the Echo, and they are able to. Some pings are going to be coming out pretty soon, coming off of those.
At this point,
cooldowns
Echo needs a
for the
GA.
Echo. Okay, this is the other reason that I play Conqueror Echo, because genuinely, so I can take the Tenacity rune. I can't play without it. You just get so
honestly,
cocky.
I agree with you, but I take Fleet Footwork and take the Tenacity route instead.
Disgusting. But they will now be moving forward, going to secure an inhib here, it looks like. But it's just the flash knock-up from Rek'Sai. That is the need, and there's the greed from the Vladimir. He's taken out immediately, but no one is peeling for Johnspin. He's taken out by the Vayne, who is now flash hooked. That's all you needed. But she has the Zonish. The PD is also available. It's not quite going to be enough. It's just he slams her again like he's got a Shojin in TFT. That is a mage-capped Nautilus right there. They do finally find the kill on the Vayne. And that's all you have to do. You just ult the Vayne again, now that she doesn't have the GA. And you sort of kill her, whilst at the same time doing your best to play safe from the Vlad. You don't really care about the Echo anymore, because let's be honest, he's kind of tilted by this point. So you're like, yeah, you know, we'll have some leeway with what we do with him in the fight. We don't have to be too prepared. But the Vayne?
Echo has died 4 times in a row without using either his ultimate or his Zhonya's in that entire time period.
Honestly, better than I would do. Like,
This is actually pretty shocking in my opinion, like, that he's keeps continually getting caught out like this. Preston Invincibles should have had this game quite a long time ago, if I'm honest, from the scaling they've got. Because the Sion's no longer relevant. The Echo is the only relevant damage source because Rek'Sai's getting outscaled. Vel'Koz is so far behind in items. It's only really the Nautilus, just the bot lane you have to contend with, and somehow this bot lane is doing more
he's
work
got a Zeke's
than
with an
almost
Ezreal.
all of Preston Invincibles.
there's a Zeke's Ezreal. This is not a good idea, ladies and gentlemen at home.
And he did go that Morellonomicon as well.
He did go the Morellos in the end. Just for a brief touch on why Zeke's Echo is a bad idea. Because Zeke's is based off your basic attack damage, and all of Echo's damage is coming in from the on hits. So it's...
You keep on saying Echo instead of
I
Ezreal, but yeah,
know-
I get you. I agree with you. It's most
I
of the
mean,
damage does come
actually,
from
it wouldn't be bad on
defense.
Ezreal. No, it's pretty bad on Echo as well. But yeah, it's not great
Honestly,
with the Ezreal.
like it's the support that gets the slow on auto, and then the AD carry gets the damage.
But
on
just
auto,
put it on
right?
like the Rek'Sai. Just you
Yeah.
get more damage. Like,
Yeah, I always like going Zeke's on Shrundle because it means your
Oh, yeah,
auto is
every time.
slow. And they're rushing it up mid lane. They want to go
they're
for this
just
in
going for the end. The Sion ult comes through. And remember, Sion ult does do damage to structures, so he does manage to chunk out that... Oh, no, I think he missed. Chunk out the inhib.
He missed the inhib.
Maybe he doesn't hit inhibs. Maybe it's only towers. But that Leona ult is down. It is a huge cooldown. Are they able to find that first kill onto Nozzle? He's got the knock-up on Vayne, but there is no way for anyone to follow. So he's taking out.
big
Now
knock-up!
double knock-up, and it's Yasuo, baby! He's hit the 1 in 10 power spike, and he's come through. He's managed to find 1 kill, and they are able to take out the Vel'Koz as well. Now only Sion
Run it back,
stands.
run it back!
And where's the... Oh, the TP forward from the Vayne. They're going to cut him off and get the pincer maneuver, and he's going to be condemned back into the team, so he has to take a little bit of a detour, but it's fine because Vayne is able to catch the wave and proxy it a little bit. And I think this may just be the game for the Preston Invincibles. 30 seconds on the respawn timers. Maybe the Vel'Koz comes up in time, but not quite. I think that's going to be game.
Yeah, looks like it should be it. They're just going to tank the tower themselves as the minions arrive very shortly. This should mean
They've got the health for this.
As the Sion can't really do much about it either. He's
That
gonna
is
get
a
shredded.
useful E. It takes away that... Is that a game-saving Sion shout? We'll have to see. All he's trying to do is keep the wave away, because if the wave's away, the towers live. But it's not enough. And it looks like the Nexus will be the focus, but...
The Guardians,
that got my hopes up.
The
right
Guardians
there.
are not going down quietly, though. They're showing that they've still got a lot of fight in them. The Preston Invincibles retain their undefeated streak. They are going into Game 2 with a lead. As the Tyneside definitely had a lot of fight left in them. They had very strong earlier phases, but they didn't know how to transition that lead. They didn't know how to snowball that lead, as they just slowly got outscaled and the champions became irrelevant. The Sion was a nice idea, but if you're picking Sion, you need to know where to engage with the Sion. And they're really struggling to engage through the Leona, through the through the Yasuo, who was just so slippery
Yeah,
throughout
he
the
was
game.
2-8, but that wind wall was putting in a lot of work.
Oh, that knock-up in the final fight as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Like, he may not have got the kills, but he just stunned 2 people in midair for long enough to the Vayne to DPS them down, and that's all you really need to do as the Yasuo in that scenario.
He's accepted his fate at that point of what he's going to be in that game, and he did it fine. You got to be able to take your losses gracefully, especially when you're again that sort of 2-8 power spiking Yasuo. He did have 12 assists though.
Yeah, so the fact that the Preston Invincibles end up taking game 1 here puts them in the lead and gives them a lot of confidence going into game 2 because they fought back from what looked really a rough deficit. Because even though the gold was pretty much even throughout, the champion spikes were dictating the game. Not so much the gold spikes or the item spikes. It was the champion spikes. The Scion, when he was unkillable in the side lane, meant that they just had full control of the map for such a long period. But when you saw the true damage from Vayne come through, when you saw the death caps come through from the 2 AP damage dealers, that was enough to make him irrelevant in fights. Like we said, he needed to land like a big ult onto a couple people, knock up the Vayne, and have people instantly burst her, because the moment that Rek'Sai was no longer able to keep Vayne out of the fights and instantly burst her was the moment the fight turned.
Yeah, those team fights were not going the way they needed to be.
Yeah, the Vayne was just dying instantly at the start. And the first time she didn't was that Baron fight.
Yeah. That fight was such a big turning point, because it seemed to me that was the point where it sort of clicked how to win those fights. You know, you get the Vlad on the back who somehow managed to get through there, Vayne hitting away at the front, Echo, it doesn't matter. But
they were able to play front to back like they wanted to.
They got the fights they needed to, and then it seemed like there was never any adaptation from that. Because we called it, all you have to do is go on the Vayne in that situation. She's the only one who's getting through the Scion, and somehow Scion has become your primary DPS in this situation. So if you can get to the Vayne, it's fine. And there just seemed to be lack of coordination. I mean, we never saw a single Scion engage with the ultimate. And then it was in that final fight, yes, Riptide, come onto the Vayne, who has no stopwatch, she has no PD, no GA. This is a good time.
Disengage at that point.
And then, at that point, it's like, okay, I've got the Riptide. Guys?
Yeah.
Guys, you doing all right? But oh no! And then you just sort of get a little clapped in that regard, and then we see the run down.
Yeah, the thing with the Ezreal as well, the Ezreal was playing really well. He had a very strong game. I believe he was like 13-2 at one point. It was such a strong Ezreal. Item build a bit questionable, maybe. Very questionable, maybe. But the strength came here because he had such a big front line and wasn't able to be picked off. And that's where you needed to play around. So I'd like to have seen him go more death cap route in the late game to just be able to instantly shred someone with a WQ, regardless whether they're front line or back line. But he was getting zoned off by the Yasuo pretty effectively. And even though he was living through every single fight, that final fight where they finally caught him with a knock-up was enough to win them the game.
That's all we needed. And there was some very nice play from the Ezreal in those fights. You see the way that he's sort of using the hop about, going in and out of fights. Oh, I particularly like that. I thought he was just going to turbo in and jump over the Dragon Wall on the earlier fights thing. And just the little things like having the presence of mind to just hop across instead of jumping over.
He didn't have presence of mind, though.
You don't know
He had Triumph.
Oh, do you have Triumph?
Yeah, he had Triumph.
I was like, maybe it was presence of mind Echo. Maybe.
But, like, yeah, the Yasuo tried. And, like, even though he wasn't quite polished on the champion, he did his job in the late game fights, and like he became what he needed to be to let the Echo, to let the Vayne carry. So the Echo had some issues in the mid game as well. So definitely the Preston Invincibles had their weaknesses in that game, where they could be caught out, they could be punished coming into this second game. But Preston Invincibles still won that out through a superior draft at the end of the day. It was executed a little bit poorly, you have to say, by Tyneside as the game went on, but the only reason Preston stayed in it is because their draft outscaled.
Well, apparently Nautilus was a big issue for Preston in that last match, so they've gone ahead and locked it in for themselves. Meanwhile, Rek'Sai and now the Rise are the pickups for the side of Teenside.
Here, Rise plays well into the Vladimir as well, actually, so maybe playing into that from Birkenhead.
Spamming a lot of Rise. Admittedly, on my Smurf, so having a bit of better
so
time
like
in that
silver.
One. Gold. I want my gold pro. I've got my skin locked in. I've been, I like to say, boosting the guys at the UKLC office.
Yeah.
There's been some questionable forces on my side, so maybe not.
So I heard that Nick finally made it to gold.
Did Nick make gold?
Nick made gold, and I believe Stan got him there.
Brilliant.
What
time to be I got Lee demoted. It's like I was tearing it up with Mike, the sound guy, and then we're tearing it up. I'm like, okay, Lee, you're silver 1. you're doing a huge win streak. Let's get you gold, buddy. We just immediately lose 2 games, and he's now still. I've only tilted and went to silver 2. Oh, buddy.
So actually, I want to talk about that. This Galio.
Oh, this is a not fun comp.
That's a Galio support. This is a nice and big front line there to deny the Yasuo Gragas bot lane.
You could just put.
Galio support
depends
because
you
play
put it
into
versus the
Yasuo
Yasuo.
Gragas.
It depends if it is a Gragas bot lane, because that is a very hard lane to pull off properly.
I believe that
It's
the Ryze
something
will
you
go
need
mid
practice.
regardless. I don't think this is going to be
You think
an
not a Ryze top lane?
I don't think this is going to be Ryze top lane. I think that Ryze will play into the Yasuo because Ryze is just so good at wave pressure, it's so good at pinning the Yasuo into the lane, and then the Galio will almost certainly play support.
Okay, well, it'll be interesting to see how it pans on out. It's like actually Vladimir banned this time around, and Xayah also taken off the table, whilst a lot of bottom lane pinching is going on there. And bear in mind, that's still what needs to be picked, so it's a rough time to be on the Guardians.
I'm going to call this as Yasuo Gragas bot lane, and then they're going to throw a Syndra mid from Preston.
But why not
Invincibles.
Yasuo Nor and then just Gragas jungle?
Of course, it's Yasuo Nort bot, and
It
then
could
Gragas
be
jungle.
it could be Nort mid.
I'd like to see Nort mid, but with the Nautilus picked, the Yasuo Gragas will not be going to the bot lane. We'll have at least the Nautilus in the bot lane. And I'd like to see Syndra. I think Syndra would be very good here in denying the Ryze and giving you a lot of control from the mid lane. But instead...
So also the Cassiopeia is an option.
Yeah, the idea to shut down the Ryze with that, like, you go really classic, you hit him with a Shogun.
Retro moves, and then he phase rushes and moves out of everything you throw down. You're like,
Okay.
And then you flash chomp him because you've built 1k AP whilst he wasn't looking.
Okay, so this is a Riven top lane.
Or is it? There's a lot of flexibility here on the Preston side. So it's Riven jungle, Misfortune support,
Gragas AD carry.
Gragas AD.
Nautilus jungle.
No, it's Riven jungle. No, okay, Riven jungle, Yasuo support, Ashe
Support.
top. Yeah, Ashe double support lane. Okay,
yeah,
sure.
we play double support lane. They're both going...
Riven jungle's not terrible bad, bearing in mind the warrior is like the... what do you call it? Like the most efficient AD item you can get in the game, and she has like
she can
7
build
AD
long
scaling.
swords. Let's go.
She can build Doran's blades. But also, when you get Aftershock, you come with the gank with the shield.
Oh god, have you ever
it's
seen
most
somebody
likely not going to be the
Have you ever seen somebody build double Doran's blade in the jungle? Weirdest thing I've ever saw.
Well, that used to be it, right? You play Lee Sin, Doran's blade star. Season 3, baby. The good old days.
But this is going to be an Ashe Nautilus bot lane, Yasuo
let's get this
mid,
worked out.
Gragas jungle and Riven top. Yeah, the most standard of the setups. So choosing to go for the Ashe bot lane, while we're going to play against Sivir Galio in the bot lane, and it's going to be the Ryze mid, Kennen top, and Rek'Sai jungle. So Tyneside have a big AoE teamfight comp that works really well when it's able to catch you out in the 5v5.
And Preston have a big 5v5 AoE teamfight comp.
But Preston have a comp that is much easier to engage on you with. This is the thing. Tyneside is good at follow-up engage. You look at a Kennen, you look at a Galio. Those two are follow-up engage, but there's no primary engage. So
it's Rek'Sai E-Flash. That's all you
exactly. So what you're looking at here is more of a disengage composition, where they want to be landing their ultimates on somebody who's already engaged onto them. But the problem is, I describe it a lot this way. I talk about Yasuo Gragas as the kings of the neutral game. Sure. When you're sitting as a 5v5 in mid lane, you're both just squaring off in that ARAM. Yasuo Gragas can make something happen. Yeah, Yasuo Gragas can make something happen like that.
Yeah.
You have to respect it at all times. If you're in the ult range, if you're in the range of that cask, you're in the range of a full 5v5 combo.
Oh,
so
it's kind of rough.
You can't group up as 5. You have to split the map as best you can. You have to separate the Yasuo and the Gragas and try and catch them out individually. That's how you deny those big fights. Or at least force an outnumbered situation onto them by superior rotation.
So maybe something like the Braum could have been a bit of a better pickup in the support, as the Yasuo Gragas were picked very early on. We'll have to see how the Galio does. Of course, you do have the opportunity to go on in the mid lane. And when you have Rek'Sai as your jungler, those are sort of your 2 dream jungles to have when you're playing Galio are going to be Rek'Sai and Jarvan. And, well, you've got one of them
you
here,
don't
so
get the
you're
Demacian cereal bowl this time with the Jarvan.
No.
So you're going to be stuck with that Rek'Sai. And unfortunately, Rek'Sai, when he played it last game, he played it decently, but doesn't have that same impact with a Galio as
At
the
least
other
it's
junglers.
a Halo Blades Rek'Sai.
At least it's a Halo Blades
At least
Rek'Sai. This
they've
is
seen
the correct
the light.
one. Like, every Rek'Sai in the world has now finally seen the light. It's great.
It took a while.
It took a long time.
It took a while for us to get here, where we are today. But
we had to convince people to stop taking Conqueror. We fought for those rights, and we managed to get them eventually.
we got there in the end. And now, what's everyone doing? You do the 3-point Q Emax? I've only just learned that was a thing.
Oh, yeah, Emax has been a thing for
Oh, no,
quite a
I was
while.
always doing Emax. But apparently, now what you do is you do 3 points Q.
I only did 2 into Emax.
No, well, so if you do 3 points Q, you only max it 1 level later.
Right.
You max E at level 10. because you're going to put that extra point in at level 8 anyway. So you're kind of okay with it, and it just means your early clear is so much better.
Oh, it is so
and
much
then once
better,
you have, obviously, because with the Emax, when you've got Halo Blades, you go bam, 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 chomp, and
Yeah,
it's huge burst.
That's the thing with Rek'Sai. The main reason that Halo Blades is so good is it guarantees you true damage on your chomp.
Yeah.
Because you get all 3 of your Q auto attacks during the knock-up. The knock-up procs gives you 25 Fury. The 3 auto attacks give you the other 25 each. It gives you that 100 Fury to get the true damage chomp on your E. You wouldn't get that during the knock-up if you didn't go Halo Blades. So that's why it's now prioritized over Conqueror. You're seeing so many more junglers do this, because it's just enabling your early game burst combo. Previously, people talked about Halo Blades like on Xin Zhao as just, it's for your first gank and that's it. With Rek'Sai, it's actually stronger
It's for the
a
whole
lot
game.
of phases up until like at least level 10, it's still stronger.
Well, we'll have to see how many Doran's Blades are brought out in the bottom lane as well. I feel like Sivir and Ashe are definitely better champions for it.
I think that
Doran's Blade Sivir, I can see that.
I think that because
you have
Ashe
the
is
auto reset and AD scaling.
I think because Ashe is a Blade of the Ruin King champion, she can avoid it.
I mean, so's Vayne.
But yeah, Vayne is a really poor early game champion, so she's trying to compensate for something.
Really poor, which is why she wastes all of her flagrant money on inefficient Doran's Blade purchases that you'll just have to sell later. Meanwhile, nice trade actually coming out from the Yasuo in the middle lane there. And Gragas looking to shadow, see what he can do, but the wave is pushing kind of the wrong direction. So he's just going to walk straight on through the mid lane. Completely give away the old vision there. And odd, really, because you sort of spend a bit of time standing around in the mid lane and then you walk straight through. That's time that could have been spent recalling and getting a nice Predator start.
But the thing is, you actually, if you get just a couple minions in XP, it makes you hit level 4
This
that
is
little bit
a
sooner.
low health bar for the Rek'Sai. You have 2 stacks already of the stun.
Ooh.
A third one has to be flashed away, and now Rek'Sai's here. You take that one step and he knows where you are. Flash! Knock up! And you don't even need the chomp. It's a first blood secured by Tyneside Guardians.
Yeah, doesn't want to risk an outplay from the Riven, ends up just securing himself that first blood, and that's the Rek'Sai getting a nice early kill for himself, and it's the Tyneside Guardians striking first, but the
He even gets the crab as well. Although the
Yeah.
Yasuo is moving first, and Kennen nowhere to be seen. A nice ward is going to spot out Baby Gordon. Now we see the pings for the collapse coming on through. Directed Cam, where you at? Okay, he's just walked away.
But the jungle
Alright.
matchup is one where you get outscaled as the Rek'Sai. So
Oh, yeah.
as the Rek'Sai, you want to empower your laners. You want to make sure that the Kennen is going to survive against the Riven for long term. You want him to get to that Seeker's Arm Guard as soon as possible, so she's not threatening him anywhere near as much. And then that allows you to get to a more comfortable position.
Well, you're going to get outscaled as the Rek'Sai. However, the Yasuo, the Ashe, and the Riven are all going to be outscaled by an insecure mid laner. Something I'm really wanting to be trying on the Rise is just how much armor can you get away with building. And this might be the game for it. You've got Righteous Glory, you got Zhonya's, you got Frozen Heart, yeah? Rylai's for a bit of health. You're good. You don't even need the I've been like thinking about this. I was like, just how much armor is too much armor to build on Rise? Because there are so many
you've
armor
seen
mana
the
items.
Doenby Light.
Like, so I like Doenby's build. You know, Righteous Glory, love it on Rise.
Okay,
Broken item, but
you
just
didn't
how
see his
far can you
Kassadin
push it?
build.
Has he even doing the same on Kassadin?
His Kassadin build's even funnier. He never builds AP.
Yeah.
He goes Abyssal Mask, Iceborne Gauntlet,
Okay.
Righteous Glory.
Okay.
And like he finished the game and won the game with that.
No tier, or you get the tier as well.
He didn't get a tier.
Didn't get tier?
Didn't even get tier.
Wow. So
He
I've been
didn't build a
wondering.
single AP item the entire game and won.
Good lord. Think about how much mana you're getting back on every W proc there as well. Glacial
Exactly.
Shroud, sleeper OP item. But it is genuine concern. There's flexibility with the Rise builds. And, you know, how quickly do you get your Archangels? Do you get Abyssal Mask? Not in this game.
I miss when
Do you
Banshees
get-
gave mana.
Good old days. Do you get Roa even at all, or do you skip it in order? Normally, if you skip Roa, you're skipping it so that you just start the game faster, and you just take less time to come online. You spike harder earlier at the cost of late game power. But if you're building 5 armor items anyway, yeah, you got to cut something.
So just to clarify, what the consensus at World seemed to be with the build was you go for your tier, into your
Roa.
Seraphs, into your Roa, then you go for the Rylai's and the Void stuff, and Death Cap. In roughly that order.
Were people going Seraphs before Roa? Because I've always
Some
been,
people
I've
were
been
going
doing
Seraphs
tier
before Roa.
Roa Seraphs.
Some people were going Seraphs before Roa because the Seraph spike's more important than the
Yeah.
Roa spike. Because you're going to get to that Roa spike eventually anyway.
It
You
does
want-
delay your Roa by like about 8 minutes.
But the survivability you get from that shield on the Seraphs, and plus the fact that the Seraphs is actually far weaker before you upgrade it, you get 1% of your bonus mana.
As opposed to, was it 8 or something?
It's 3%. It triples the
Oh,
amount of
8.
AP you're getting from the passive of it. So it's 1% to 3% of mana.
We
as
take those.
AP. So it's much more important to upgrade that earlier because it's actually a higher power spike than a fully stacked Rod of Ages.
Did you know that Rise passive building AP gives him mana?
Yes.
I had no idea until like 2 days ago.
That was
I've
I
learned
that
a
was
lot in
the
the
old
last 2
iteration,
days.
the last iteration of him before when the this is his 3rd, 4th rework now.
I miss the shield, man.
Oh god, I just miss when you pressed the button and it was called like Super Drive or something like that.
It was like when his Q was point and click.
You'll never catch me
everything
when I
was-
switch to maximum overdrive.
That's exactly how it feels when you pop like phase rush and the Q.
Yeah.
Oh, Rek'Sai.
Oh, no.
Oh no. Oh, you have an ability that lets you see people through walls, and
He didn't see people through walls.
didn't see those people. Can't see why kids love the taste of cinnamon toast crunch either. But actually, nice kills come through in the mid lane. Forced to flash forward, but actually rooted under the tower. You didn't need to flash under the tower there, but we kind of take those.
We take that 1 for 1.
You get your
both of
Zergs,
them,
and
yeah,
that's
but
important.
2 summoners for 1, and you still get the 1 for 1 out of it. And there's a wave pushing into the Yasuo's tower as well. He doesn't have TP to respond, so I believe this is a win for the Rise.
Just didn't need to.
Just didn't need to flash.
It was it just hit the Q. It was I'll flash to guarantee the auto. So I just hit the Q. And if you don't hit the Q, cool, you've blown his flash. Get him next time. There's a bit of greed coming out here, and not a few Doran's Blades, unfortunately.
Yeah, not as many Doran's Blades as last time. Being able to survive for long enough during the lane phase. One of the reasons that Doran Blades is so good is you can trade very aggressively and base and just be able to pick up Doran's Blades very easily without worrying about components. But if you get back to
the
base
big buy,
and you've got the 1300,
that's
just go for the
2400.
BF
That was the first buy from the Ashe.
That's a lot, yeah.
Interesting though, she goes to Essence Reaver with lethal tempo. Is that a thing
Yeah.
now?
Lethal tempo becoming more and more common with Ashe in general, just regardless of build.
Regardless of if you're going for the poke build.
Because like the crit build is still really strong. You still get your a lot of attack speed in it. Likely with the amount of burst in the opposing team, that she is probably going to go for like a Phantom Dancer second anyway. I don't think this is going to be a Triforce build we're going to see from her.
Yeah, I never really liked the Triforce. It's an interesting one, but I'm just so much more of a fan of the Hurricane.
I mean,
it's just, you know, pew pew pew.
It's purely a statement made by Ghost in Korea, just that AD carry's useless right now, and I'm trying to prove it.
Brilliant. Well, someone might be useless. It's actually not this Yasuo here. Does almost manage to get a good Keyblade, and actually losing out on that damage might lose out on the kill, but no, he slaps him with the tip of the blade, and now everyone's turned up in the mid lane. It's a nice 3-man stun from the cannon, but he does not have support from the Galio, who's been forced out of the fight. Everyone's pretty low, but there's no way further forward that they can go.
See, this is what their plan was, though, and unfortunately it didn't work out. Their plan was to have Kennen TP in and the Galio ult into these fights when you see Preston Invincibles try and use their full damage combo, but the damage is so high that everyone's dead before they arrive. And the Kennen ult is not enough to turn that fight. They're going to get the dragon.
Yeah, I think even if because that was not the way they needed that fight to go, but even if Achari is just sort of able to be a little bit closer in the fight when the Kennen turns up, maybe you can try saying, oh, actually, it may be a kill for the Rek'Sai. Yeah, she finds out the 1, and now this Galio isn't in the middle of the team. A flash is blown. That's that's a pretty big clean. That's some kitchen gun levels of cleanup right there. They managed to bang, find themselves a triple kill.
I did not expect a kitchen gun reference today, but we take those.
I love kitchen gun.
Oh god. The kitchen gun, something that definitely cleans up fights pretty quickly.
That fight was cleaned up really good.
Baby Gordon, his Tyneside Guardian's kitchen gun this time around, is just going to run in and scream, "Hi, I'm Derek Scott!" Instantly execute the Yasuo right at the start.
Scream bang at the top of your lungs whilst you do it. Meanwhile, not so much of a cleanup here in the bot lane. It's more of just a straight 2v2. Bit of damage coming out, but actually is able to find the kill on the Achari. Thought he'd live through that one. And that's a pretty decent fight for Preston. They're going to try ahead and clear out this wave here, see if they can secure some plates, but it is a Sivir of all champions who should be able to catch this juicy wave down here. Pretty low on the mana. They may just look for a dive as well, because Nautilus does have the abilities that he requires. However, low mana on the Ashe might not be enough, but here it is. He's walking up, but really, if you're higher, you take this because you spell shield and you're good. You can try and turn it a little bit. Here comes the Rek'Sai, and he's able to find 1 kill. Now flashing forward, but apparently Rise turned up at some point, and it's a double kill, baby. They secure that one, and now they will be the ones going for the bottom lane place.
Rise TP'd in behind. They've got the Ref Herald available to themselves.
Oh, when did that turn up?
Lane tower.
When did they get that one? Oh, brilliant.
They got it at some point, and that's all that matters here, is it's going to be able to get this bot lane shards for themselves. You can see that the Preston Invincibles trying to make up for it by getting some mid lane tower shards. All this gold going onto the Sivir is huge, and it's going to mean that the Tyneside Guardians are actually doing a lot better this game than they are the last one. They're cleaning up fights more consistently, so we need to see Preston Invincibles get to that point in the game where they can 5v5, otherwise this one's going to slip away from them.
All right, well. Oh, that's a low health, eh? Riven, that's the one. Well, she's looking for the slash, and now Adapon's looking for something. He has the ultimate available. Who's going to win out on this trade? The stun comes through, and Adapon able to secure that kill and set up a nice freeze if he so wishes.
Yeah, nice play there again. As the Riven goes down to 1 and 3, as this is... Okay, I've actually been told about this by a Riven main. The Essence Reaver Riven build.
Oh, that's a thing, yeah.
Yeah. You get the CDR, you get all the AD, and it's not a bad item for her because you just get that much more AD and the crit chance. You can RNG yourself some free kills. I actually don't know if they build the Infinity Edge on top of it, though, or not. I don't know what comes next, but I
think it's just for this, like, it gives so much AD and it gives CDR, but you're not even autoing that much. I mean, obviously you're getting your fast combos in here and there, blocking your passive, but you're not really playing for the crit. From here, you just go into a cleaver and you've got your max CDR. And I don't know if you run Transcendence because then you're getting the Death Dance as well. Yeah. Maybe a Shojin. You're good. You get a lot of CDR. But
you don't really go Shojin much on Riven right now, unfortunately.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. It doesn't work.
I'm so glad that I was getting kicked out of the game.
Oh, yeah. But
I'm going to miss full AD Shojin Yi, though, with Halo Blades.
I still just remembering when the... Do you remember the initial design for Shojin was? Like, the moment I saw it, Ender was still on the balance team at the time. I literally yelled at him, remove this. This is so stupid. Do you remember... Remove this.
No, it was Ender Halo was the finals in Calgary.
Yeah?
Where someone did the Rift Herald? Like soloed Rift Herald on the day it came out. We were like, well, speaking of which, jokes, he almost had that. I was like, okay, this is kind of over.
He wanted to make it outplay,
he almost
unfortunately had nothing there. But you go and you were saying
someone soloed Rift Herald. I'm like, Andrew, is that meant to be a thing? He's like, I don't know, dude. Like, I need to make some calls. But what was the original design? Was it Atmos 2.0?
It was whenever you use your ultimate. No, it was whenever you auto attack somebody, you gain triple damage reduction, and the passive was damage reduction equal to your AD. It was like, no, I don't need a Jhin. Getting 200 flat damage reduction from all sources, thanks.
Oh, I wish they'd released that fun for all of a day.
I literally played like Riven versus Fiora in 1v1.
Yeah,
I couldn't beat Riven versus Jhin rather in the 1v1. I couldn't beat the Jhin in a straight up 1v1, even when I get the jump on him. It's just like, no, this is stupid.
Rek'Sai has been spotted out in the top lane, which does mean plates are secured in the mid lane, although they did fall down just a little bit ago, and that is a just flash use rise, but he's baiting, baby! Galio jumps on and killing spree in the top lane apparently, and now we have the full fight here 4 onto the Nautilus, and you're not really too happy about that one, but the Realm Warp is going to drag people through. Lovely disengage, not quite Woody Fruity though, as he's not able to find the kill, and the race just ran through the man to get away from the Yasuo, but he's alright with it because he does live, never mind, he's actually taken out by the Gragas in the end, and Rek'Sai diving 2 towers deep will secure 1 kill. Now Gragas moving on the side, no flash available, no cask either. Yasuo here to play as well. Last Breath is up, and they are not going to look for anything more. But now the Mountain Dragon has spawned.
Right now, this game is going so well for the Tyneside Guardians. They're able to clean up these spikes consistently, and Preston Invincibles just haven't hit their spikes. You look at Yasuo, and he's probably the hardest hitting 2-item spike champion in the game because he gets 100% crit from getting those 2 crit items. And he's not even at 1 item yet. We need to see some more gold come through from the Preston Invincibles. We need to see more gold onto that Yasuo to have this fight presence, because so much of their damage is centered around Riven and Yasuo getting into the center of the fight, and they can't consistently do that at this moment because the Rise is so strong, because Rek'Sai and Kennen are able to zone them out.
But that's why Gragas brings the fight to you.
And that's what they need, but they need to Gragas to be a bit more tanky, be a bit more of a damage threat himself to get there.
Yes, this is the thing. On any other champion, being a bit more tanky and being a bit more of a damage threat may not be compatible, but damage threat is going to be Ushuki. Able to find that 1 kill onto the Galio. And now, I've seen this fight before for Tyneside. Kennen in the top lane. He does have teleport, Riven does not, and I think because of that, Tyneside are going to go ahead and concede this second Mountain Dragon.
But they trade the tower for it. You know,
I'm not calling worth on that one.
you know, if the Kennen was going to try and TP in, Riven would be able to stop it. Probably give up a life for it, though, on the other side.
You just ult before you TP, so when she comes into the bush, she's immediately stunned. It's like, oh.
But you
It's like
stop her
scuffed
from
Nunu.
You stop her from TP. You stop him from TPing. But the fact that there's a what is that? A 2-level difference in the top lane? Yeah, that's gonna be your death if you try and go in on that one. And unfortunately, Kennen has been consistently winning out. Like we said with the Rek'Sai in the early game, his aim was to walk into the top side and get Kennen into a position where he can consistently win that out. He got the Seeker's Arm Guard. He got the AP to zone her away. Now at 3-0-3, he's winning this 1v1 every single time.
He's having a pretty good time of it right now. And he's okay with being the Kennen in this matchup. He's alright with it, but we take a second to look at the rest of the map, and Rek'Sai about to get a cleaver. About to finish that one. About to finish that one up. And we'll have to see, is that one going to be able to make a difference in these fights? Because we do need some sort of armor pen coming here for the team.
So now, Tyneside Guardians kind of on the back foot a little bit, maybe a bit humbled by that last fight, but they can't afford to take their foot off the accelerator, because at the moment they do, Preston Invincibles are allowed to get to those later spikes, and they are so scary once they get to that point in the game. As you look at the Yasuo now, getting closer to that Infinity Edge, he's already at, I believe that's like 80-90% crit.
You're pretty good to go
Oh
there.
God.
Meanwhile, good to go. Ash is good being gone. Now, Ixuki looking for a little bit more. The Zhonya's has come through, but I think the taunt is still available. And actually, the body slam is blocked there, so they find the kill in either case. And now they look for the tower. The Nautilus actually hooking on in, because here comes the Yasuo. Look at the Riptide. It finds one, and here's the Vayne as well. Never mind, that's actually a Riven. I don't know champion names. Galio is moving forward, but Sivir is free hitting. It's pizza time, maybe. She's trying to throw out the ricochets. Not quite able to find enough kills, but the tower is more than enough.
Unfortunately, Preston Invincibles, they can't clean up these fights. They're trying to get into a position where they can contest, but every single time the Kennen zones them out. The Galio doing such good work in getting an AoE area where you just can't commit to that fight yet. You have to wait until it runs out. And it's just so much of a problem.
All right, well, second item has been finished up by the Ashe. So maybe you're getting a little bit more damage out in these fights. You know, maybe you're okay with that one.
And Tyneside Guardians just really finding a much better time of it this time around. But they're just cleaning up fight after fight. And Preston, they're trying to fight back, but with the Riven so far down, the Yasuo so far from his Infinity Edge, it's difficult.
So we're starting the rabbit hole of how much armor is too much armor. All right, Tabby are the pickup. Now maybe into a Zhonya's as the next
I'd like to
item.
see a Zhonya's here.
I
Yeah.
think Zhonya's, even though it actually gives AP, probably one of the last items I want. Nice dash though, bringing the Yasuo through the Rek'Sai there. But yeah, I think the Zhonya's is kind of like, I'm thinking like third or fourth. I'd rather get the Righteous first.
See, I want him to go Zhonya's here because it helps him side lane so much more efficiently. Because you don't necessarily want to just allow Gragas to land a 5-man knock up at any point. Even though you are stronger at this point in the game, you do want to split the map on them and make sure that the Yasuo or the Riven is split up from the rest of the team. You know that Kennen beats Riven. You know that you beat the Yasuo. If you split this into a 1-3-1, your team wins out everywhere on the map.
We'll have to see if they're able to put that one out. We do have, 2 teleports available. So 1-3-1 definitely a playable option right now. Baron is spawning up soon. 2 mountains for the side of Preston do make that a tempting offer. But like I've just mentioned, teleport advantage for.
Oh, he's going for a
Tyneside.
Banshees instead, trying to block out the Ashe
Not
or the
armor,
Nautilus
that's
ult.
the opposite.
That's the other thing. As yeah, he wants to block one of those Ashe ults or those Nautilus hooks. And
And
you
also,
can
if you're
understand it. Maybe a
invalidating
Gragas ult as well.
Yeah, because Gragas is the only AP threat at Preston. So,
Yeah.
and he's also not rebuilding Pen, at least yet. Maybe he'll look for for Morelos later. But if you can block out any of his damage, especially if you're blocking it with the Abyssal passive itself, Gragas is very all in. And he needs all of his abilities to do all of that damage to kill you.
Oh, this
Meanwhile,
is
it's the mid lane. We have the Hurricane damage coming out huge. Nice CC chain onto the Sivir there from the Ashe ultimate. And now it's the Kennen flank. He's coming on through, and there is the combo we needed. Galio coming through to provide some defense if anyone wanted to try anything, but they're not able to. Kills across the map. And now the final one picked up with the auto attack onto the Gragas. And it's just Realm Warp into the Baron.
And that Kennen ult was clean.
Dude.
He caught everybody right on the edge of it with
Perfect
the stun.
circle.
And he's just he can't even chase people down as he has to just stand still and go, well, I'm DPSing everyone at once. If I
Okay,
stand
who am I
still here-
chasing?
Oh,
Actually.
I guess I'm hitting
Oh,
everyone. I guess I'll just stay here. As
was
they're going to go
visually
onto the
appealing.
Baron off the back of this as well. If they get this Baron,
You
then
want snipe?
they're wanting to break open the base pretty quickly. They've got so much more threat now. And even if the Sivir is under threat right at the start of the fight like that, she just gets melted.
I forgot the
Kennen
Sivir just
clean up.
died immediately.
Yeah, that was a
in that.
5v4. The Kennen just cleans the hell up out of that fight. And catches Joex,
Oh,
catches unpronounceable name, and catches Weeb name as well on the backside of it.
I mean, everything was thrown onto the Sivir.
Yeah.
Like, there's very big committals to take her down. The Yasuo's diving. You throw out the Ashe ult as well. I think Ashe wasn't quite getting the maximum DPS out you could with that Hurricane, but at the same time, when you have Hurricane, you want to be hitting frontliners. You know, you want to be hitting like the Galio and the Rek'Sai, two champions you can do very well versus. As the Ashe, you can just sort of kite them well enough with your slows and your, with the move speed you're building as well. You're kind of okay, but Kennen puts so much trouble for all of that that it's nigh on impossible.
And we said that the idea of the Tyneside Guardians was that Preston Invincibles, they blow all the cooldowns and then they clean up the fight with this Galio and with this Kennen. Initially that wasn't working because the damage was too great. The damage was too much for them to bear. They were dying before they could respond. But now their tankiness has come through, or they're throwing simply everything onto a Sivir. It's giving them the time to clean up these fights. It's giving them the ability to clean up these fights once all the cooldowns are gone from the Preston Invincibles, and now they've got Baron and the Dragon very quickly. Tyneside looking commanding control of this game.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, it is only an Ocean Dragon, not something like the two mountains that Preston were able to secure for themselves, but at the end of the day, you're still alright with it. And getting that mana regen back, mana and health on champions that you're like building lots of those, like Ryze, Galio, and Sivir, you're pretty okay with.
So now the Tyneside Guardians just going to set up a siege that can't really be broken very easily by the Preston
like,
Invincibles.
how do you break this?
It has to just be a Grog Assault. That's the only way you can do it, and because they're sieging multiple fronts at once, it means that you can't get all those 5 members together to land this big wombo like they want to, but unfortunately Johnsman, he's taking a lot of damage from the tower.
Yeah, and now here's the flash engagement from the Riven.
Oh,
Even
but they're being turned.
She's not here, but there's the Gragslot. They will find the
Big
Rek'Sai, and it's
cannon.
the cannon, baby, coming on through, immediately turning that fight straight back around. It looked good for the Riven. Maybe it was thrown into the Abyssal, but oh, hang about! Actually, they're able to find the re-engage onto the Galio. It's not the optimal target, but it's definitely one they will take. You have to flash away, and he does have the Zhonya's available there. The stopwatch picked up, and the Gragas barrel just not quite able to secure that kill.
Yeah, not going to keep him safe, as he has gone for the Locket of the Eyed Solari this game, just to try and keep his team alive from that burst combo a little bit easier. Definitely respect the choice. As he's going to go back, and this team's going to keep up this pressure, likely to get at least this tower, maybe an inhib off the back of it.
And now being a team player, I'm pretty sure he's building towards an Abyssal Mask, which I think is very nice when you have a cannon on your team that you're trying to combo with.
It's the last hurrah. He's going for
He's
a
a
ZZ
ZZ
Rot.
Rot, boy.
He's going ZZ Rot.
Oh, good lord.
The cannon, though, now building towards this. He's going to get a Spellbinder here. He gets a full Spellbinder complete. I'd like to have seen him go more towards the Death Cap route.
Well, right now, it's giving him more AP. I do believe.
Because the thing is, he'd only be about 500 gold off from a Death Cap if he just bought the Death Cap there. And so if he just bought the other needlessly large rod there, he'd be so close to it that would... I think it's still better to go for that, and it would have been better for his team overall. But if you're going for the initial power spike right now, which I don't think is necessarily what you need...
Well, you're already winning the fights now. It's giving you movement speed, which is nice to reposition in these fights. And AP-wise...
Unless you think you're going to end the game on the next fight. This is a poor choice.
Well, I think it's giving you more AP when it's fully stacked compared to a Death Cap at the same build. Actually, because Death Cap scales off itself as well, right? So Death Cap's giving you like 40. You're getting, was it 70 on the Zhonya? So that's, I don't know, like another 15 or something. 55, and then is it 60 on
you end up getting about 120 AP extra from the Zhonyas at this point in the game. Like 90 to 120 extra AP. It's so insane what you get.
And you're getting 100 extra from the Spellbinder.
From the active on the Spellbinder,
Yes.
yes. But that's,
Plus the move speed?
That's buying in entirely on one fight and one fight only.
Yeah, you need that 100 stack.
Exactly.
Right?
You need to go if you're going for the Spellbinder here, like we're saying, it means that you are saying this next fight will be the last fight. I want my power spike right now.
So the question is, can he stack it fast enough? You are versus a Riven, which is nice. You got Sivir with the auto reset, she's spamming out a little bit. Ryze, obviously, if you're hugging Ryze, actually, you're pretty good when it comes to stacking it. Now,
So
apparently some stun came through. Oh, it was the Ashe ult was used there.
Yeah,
And that's an important cooldown to not be available for this fight.
blowing that one cooldown does allow them to siege up a little bit more comfortably. They know one of the big engage threats isn't there, but the depth charge and that explosive cask are still big, as Ashe having to be the primary wave clear. That Shojin finally came through from Riven, but it's a little bit too little too late, you have to say.
Yeah, it is eventually picked up, but like, dude, you need, I think Cleaver's just way better right now. Because you're not the carry for your team. You just need to lower their armor so that Yasuo and Ashe can put out the damage they can. And also, it gives better defensive stats, which is definitely something you need.
And it allows you to stick to someone a bit better because it gives you that that movement speed boost on hit. But right now, Tyneside don't really have the vision here. They're on a ward.
On a warden.
Yeah.
It is given away by the Ashe. I think you don't give that away. Maybe you can look for a flash body slam ult type situation coming out from the Gragas, and then you're kind of okay with this. You might be able to turn this game around. And speaking of turning things around, Riven, I don't think you win this fight, mate, but she's looking for it. The cooldowns are not available, but the Galio ult is. She gets the slash. She actually finds the one shutdown. And the Ashe ult from downtown is able to stun up the Galio. And so Riven's going to keep on going forward. We take it all back. The Shojin was an amazing purchase. She starts putting out damage. The crit as well. Not the second one. And so he lives on a little bit of health. And a kill is also found in that corridor. Meanwhile, Galio is recalling on minimal health. And they don't know he's there. He's like, peace out, dude. Waste your flash. I'm good. He's going to recall and get away from that one. Let's see if
still got the ultimate.
Can do the same. He has the ultimate. He has the E coming up soon as well. But the chase does continue. Ashe ult will be available in maybe like 20 or 30 seconds if the fight goes on that long. The barrel does not connect, but the Baron does respawn. 2 mountains, an Ashe, a Yasuo. This is going down fast.
The Rek'Sai is still there, and the Blast Cone is available as well, as Kennen, Baron cuts everyone's magic resistance by 50%.
They're making it pretty low. Cannon takes the colon in. The Baron secured by the Gragas. And now the Cannon ult thrown down. He's gone so low, but he's got the Zhonya's already, so it doesn't really matter. He does drop eventually, and it's a double kill. But look at the health bars on Nautilus, on Yasuo. It was close.
And this base is in shambles. As
well, Riven's going for round 2. She doesn't get the knock-up, and the flash is coming out from Jonesbit, so no one able to find the kill there. She really wanted another go of that one, feeling very confident after last time. The Ashe, not quite.
But they get the Baron, but they lose a tower in the base. They got the bottom inhibitor still down. And it's still difficult to push through, but there's a window of opportunity for the Preston Invincibles to now push it back and try and find a way to win this.
Okay, remember, Preston are looking for the clean 2-0.
Still only 4k goal difference.
Tyneside are fighting for their lives.
Oh, is this the play I love from the Yasuo? He's going for the Wit's End. Wit's End right now is just like...
oh, he's got PD and Hexdrinker. Yasuo, no! I said about I love it when
I think he realized it. I think he realized it, and that's why he's going to sell the Hexdrinker to get the Wit's End.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Hexdrinker and Wit's End, insecure, but
yeah,
you win the game.
I mean, you go QSS and Wit's End, it's still just as good, unfortunately. But
that was
the Wit's End here. I'd actually love. Wit's End is a replacement to Conqueror because he's got Hail of Blades. It's a replacement to Blade of the Rune King because it helps you shred through tanks.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, it gives you everything you want right now. And so I'd love to see him go for it, but it requires him get rid of the Hexdrinker first.
Alright, well, we'll have to see. Is he going to sell? I mean, he got the Hexdrinker, he might as well sit on it now. Like,
yeah.
You're not going to sell it for a recurve bow. Like.
It just means he needs to scale up to that point where he can sell it. Because right now I'm disappointed in him because he built double stack. Like, if you've seen Uzi did the same thing in the LPL finals.
Did he?
Well, LPL semi-finals rather. It's just
no.
he built double Phantom Dancer and the the Hexdrinker on Cogmore. He was just desperate to stay alive in fights.
Just anything.
That's the state of AD carries. You just get bursted by absolutely everyone. The only 2 AD carries that don't are the one that has an automatic defensive ultimate, and the other one who can build 6 defensive items.
Well, you're going to see here, someone who hasn't built 6 defensive items is going to be the Rek'Sai, but the Kennen has come through. It's a double stun, and they find the 1 kill. But look at the Riven, this might be her fight. It's a lovely disengage, but actually I think it might have gone wrong for the Riven there. But the kill is secured by the Ashe. She's going to see what can she do. That is a Realm Warp that's going to be taking in 1 person only. Ryze maybe thought he had a few more buddies coming through with him here. And now the Kennen has finally come through for the backup. No ultimate available. And the inhib will be the focus here. Look at the ricochet damage, forcing the Ashe and Nautilus away from the wave. And it will be 1, maybe 2 inhibitors going down.
Yeah, the inhibitor in the bot lane had respawned, but they are going to have to leave it. Leaving the mid one up, giving them control of that for the upcoming Elder Dragon fight, which I believe is the next dragon to spawn, should be useful to them.
Like, honestly, I think if Gragas doesn't ult in that fight, or at least
Oh.
at that time,
There's actually one more Infernal
Riven-
Dragon to spawn.
Oh,
But yeah,
maybe.
if Yasuo, sorry, Gragas doesn't ult in
yeah,
that fight,
if
go on.
Gragas doesn't ult right there, I think Riven kind of just gets like a triple kill. This is
Yeah.
a Shojin Riven, not a cleaver, so she is not getting as much AoE damage out, but at the same time, like,
She's almost
she
a
would've
death
got a
stance
lot
as
of
well.
damage. And I believe you're going to get the Conqueror healing out when you're hitting multiple people. You're going to get the, what you call it as well, the Ravenous Hunter, if you
Yeah.
are running that as well. Not sure if he is, but lots.
I believe you
of
should be at this point, yeah, because you want to be going for the, you want to be getting extra healing
look at
as
that crit.
well.
Yeah.
So Riven right now,
Oh, we
is
can't run
actually becoming a
Transcendence
threat.
and
as
Sorry.
as Yasuo is now building a
Oh,
full.
this is a dangerous time to be
more
face checking, boys,
Maltese.
but you can no longer flash taunt on the ground. So frontline Sivir is apparently the new meta. She walks through, does take a depth charge to the face, and Raven not quite in an area.
Pulls a full expect as he walks right into the front line of Riven.
Did he just walk up slowly and face tank? The Riven was getting in position for a flank and then sort of
Yeah.
turned around and said, no, I'll just come back. If you got the flank there, we win these. Because the huge thing about this Sivir is that you are not dying to the Nautilus anytime soon because you can spell shield for Riptide. If you're frontlining and spell shielding the hook that's still dragging him halfway to you, it's kind of not great.
Yeah, it ends up putting either the Nautilus out of position or he just ends up ulting as he did for there, pretty much for waste. And I think that the Sivir's actually completely fine with that, and it's just going to back off, not having to blow too much. She only had to blow the spell shield to stay alive. So she gets all the cooldowns in Nautilus pretty much for free.
Right, well, she does almost have 100% crit as well, which is pretty nice when you're playing Sivir, just to have that guarantee that all of your boomerangs will be booming. Not quite there yet. Do you need to finish that CEO? Probably into a rapid fire cannon.
Yeah, she's at 90% now. Once she finishes it, she'll get that either rapid fire, shiv, whatever she chooses to go for.
Okay, so the PD was sold for a shiv from the Yasuo. That's probably
Yeah,
actually the best way out.
That's the better way of doing it.
That's the best way to
Because
do
you
it.
need the extra magic resistance more than you need the shield from Phantom Dancer.
Yeah.
I respect that.
the cut between PD and shiv is so close in which one you want that when there's any debate about problems with your overlapping items, it's like, okay, cool, just cut the PD. Like we're just gonna more. It's much better. And also getting that more is going to give you more lifesteal as well because you're lacking in the Conqueror area. That's always nice.
And this Baron is the next objective to play around as Gragas pops the Predator. He wants to come in and face check, but there's so many wards they have to push through just to get access to their own jungle again. And now Kennen pushing up mid, Riven walking down towards this dragon. She wants to take this, but if she is, if they get the ping that the dragon's taken, that just gives them full access to a fight.
Yeah, the second they know that dragon is gone, they may look to attempt something. The teleport is available for the Riven. But actually,
they're running out of
it's the realm warp end. Okay, boys, all right. Blue team is staying the dragon. The TP will come through to follow. Where's she teleported
big
to,
Ash
though?
stun.
I don't see it on the map. Oh, she's right there. Going behind the tower, and it's looking like a pretty rough situation to be in. The knock-up from the Yasuo, but he will not take the ultimate. He knows he's fighting into a cannon with Zhonya's. There is the ult from the Gragas, but it won't find all too much. And knock-up doesn't connect either from the Yasuo. But people are so grouped, this could be the fight that they need. The knock-up onto the rise. This is giving me flashbacks to Worlds. They don't manage to take anyone down there, but the Yasuo does drop. Cannon, not available. Zhonya's not available, so the fight is still possible for Preston. The hook forward onto the Rex line. They'll take him down, and now the Ashe is throwing out the deeps. She has the minion to stack off, and they take down the Galio as well. She's moving forward, landing out the volley slow
down
onto the rise. Has to be careful of his
big
Rylai's, but the hook's there instead. Now flash forward from the Riven. She goes for the kill, and they are able to find out the Kennen as well. The GA is popped. It's not enough, and now the Baron is secured for Preston.
And Preston find the way to turn the game. They're going to run towards Baron, and they're going to clean it up as a crucial fight is found after the Yasuo goes down. They needed to find an all-in engage, and the crucial hooks land from Alpha Chinchilla.
Oh, yeah.
As he acts as the true Alpha, but credit to Utsukushi there, able to actually turn that fight off of his own back, playing so aggressively on the Ashe, the lethal tempo coming through, all this attack speed working wonders as he is now at 100% crit chance as well. So that Ashe is hitting like a truck. You can't disrespect it. If she's in your range, she's sticking to you.
Oh yeah, she's putting out just a huge level of the deeps, as they say, in that fight. Riven as well starting to become a threat. Gragas ults not really as on point as they could be, but they still want the fight, so we kind of take those. But that has to be a tilter for Tyneside. Like,
Yeah.
this is such an important match for you, and to have them sitting on the, you're on the right on the edge of victory, and you just go for that crazy
big
back
stun.
door. It's
Can they
buffered.
catch him out? No,
Nah,
he
he's
gets
good.
just out of range. But the Nautilus was looking for something there.
No, sign. Now, this is a lot of CDR on the Ashe, so you're not too worried about throwing ultimates like that. And now Kennen actually looks for the right. Alpha Chinchilla, we were just talking him up, and suddenly he oversteps a bit too much. But here comes the round up, and Galio is the one to take it. He's in the middle of the team. He just needs to find the taunt. He's getting the taunts onto 2.
big
but disengage from the Gragas. Now Rek'Sai moves forward. Nowhere near enough damage. Will drop to the Ashe. Riven's on the back and does take out the Sivir as well. And now Rise trying to find some deeps there. He's not able to do what he can. And now Adapon is the only one alive. He has no flash, he has no Zhonya's. Actually, he does, but he has no ultimate. The Zhonya's will be forced out here, but it's just not going to be able to do anything to turn this fight. And Preston Invincibles, they move forward. Many questionable Grag assaults, but the one that they need will secure the fight, secure the dub, secure the undefeated group stages, and get them through into playoffs.
And that was so crucial from the Gragas, as instantly, the instant the Kennen ult is popped, he's disengaged. He doesn't get to hold on to the ult cooldown and look for a re-engage. No, it's already gone. All of his damage is already there. And that means they're going to clean this one up. The Yasuo finds a way in to clean it up. And Preston take this one 2-0.
Alright, 2-0 for Preston Invincibles. They'll get themselves through into the group stage. Sorry, into the playoffs. Not that they already won, but sad times for Tyneside.
4-0 is how they end this group stage, and amazing work from Preston Invincibles. We hadn't seen them so far. They looked a bit shaky in Game 2, but they found the key execution when they needed to. And they look like, unfortunately, one of the weaker undefeated teams so far.
Yeah, it was very close, and we did see at the end, defeat being clutched from the jaws of victory off of the back of that that DP play. But
the
wasn't
execution
terrible,
came through.
but
The Grog assault was there. We can't discredit them. They did
ult
show up when they needed
just
to.
won the game on
exactly.
the spot.
They executed when they needed to. It's just a case of, if that's how they look against, let's say, Kingston Harriers after they had 2 20-minute games today.
Yeah. You probably
they're not going to get away with
the
that.
dub
Exactly.
there, yeah.
So you've got to look at, especially when you look at the London Lionhearts, who are now 4-0 as well, as our reigning champions who have upgraded in the roster. It's even more difficult to see them looking incredibly strong, but they've got a lot of hopes. They're going to go up against the second seed in the quarterfinals. So they've got their first seed in their group. They're going through, and unfortunately, Tyneside heartbreak as they fought so hard, tooth and nail, right at the end of these days, but unfortunately, that loss to Colchester early in the season is going to cost them, and Colchester's going to go through in second place.
All right, so obviously, congratulations to your boys coming up with a 2-0. Commiserations to Tyneside getting knocked out. Last time round they were they were in the
semi-finals. They lost to the T-side Steelers.
Oh, so they both begin with T.
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting through the semi-finals before, not quite managing to make it through this time. But with that, all of our group stages are now wrapped up. So we'll be moving forward into the play-ins next week.
Yeah, playoff stage quarterfinals of the first seed from every group against the second seed from every group next time around. They're going to be switching groups, obviously, and then the semi-finals going into that final, with to be confirmed location. But be excited to see which teams end up making it to that live final.
All right, yeah. Who are your front runners for it?
Honestly, I'm from Glasgow. I want Clyde to make it.
Well, yeah.
But right now,
Portsmouth boys.
My favorite team to watch has been Kingston Harriers. They've been so exciting to watch. And even though they make some sloppy mistakes, they are still one of the most fun teams in the tournament to get behind.
All right. Well, we'll have to see if that's going to be the case. Of course, we are going to be signing off for tonight. But of course, you can catch all this action going on again next week. And next Thursday, we'll be diving on into the playoffs. And of course, it'll be at 6:30. But any other games you want to be watching, you want to be getting a part of, you can obviously go down to your local store, try and sign up for next split, or tune in throughout the rest of the week when we'll be running things like our FIFA and our shooters and fighters and other games for Tartan Legend
FIFA
League.
tomorrow.
You sound so dejected about FIFA.
I casted FIFA last week.
Ooh.
Yeah. Thank you. But
You just randomly said thank you to do it.
Oh yeah.
And got a compliment from production.
But the FIFA's on tomorrow. I know George and Matt will be having a lot of fun with that. We had an amazing matchup last week that went all the way up until the final dying moments to decide who ended up winning that series. So.
All right, so FIFA tomorrow.
Yeah.
Rest of the games, rest of the week.
If that's the thing, tune in.
Legend
if
League
not,
on Thursday.
then League's next Thursday. We'll see you guys.